It is finally Friday. Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome to the channel. Welcome back to another 40k After Dark stream. If you're new here, I warn you, we will talk about 40k for probably the first 20 to 30 minutes because we do have more brand new 10th edition rules for Codex Worldies. Is one of my favourite armies to play with. And then it will devolve into nonsense and madness because it's a Friday. It's a Friday afternoon and we'll tell shit jokes and we'll talk about life experience and we'll talk about silly things and we'll talk about non-40k things and we'll generally just hang out and relax and chill out and get ready for the amazing weekend. And this weekend will be amazing because we're off to Element Games tomorrow for Great Hall Gathering. Tomorrow night I've just finished writing the quiz. And tomorrow night there'll be a Great Hall Gathering quiz. And then Sunday we basically just hang out at Element with a bit of a hangover. And then come home Sunday evening. So I'm super excited for that. Welcome back. How are you all doing? Thank you for hanging out with us. Tell us what you're doing, where you are, what you're drinking, that kind of stuff. More importantly, please make sure you hit all those magical YouTube buttons for us. Hit that like button if you haven't already. Smash subscribe if you're watching and you haven't done that yet. And hit that bell notification icon if you want to be notified every single time we go live or drop a new video. Alternatively, you will also be notified if you are a member in the Great Hall Discord server. And that's important because already Tim Chaser is gifted 10. Dave Deer 12 decided to just try it. He's come in with just a tip at Hasir tier as a brand new member. And Mordy Hammer's also gifted 1. So I take my number up there in the top corner and increase it by 12. Thank you. You wonderful, beautiful, amazing human beings. You're very, very lovely. I'm very appreciative. And Simon Reese, thank you for the 2. 666 for the Blood God. We'll get into that in just a moment. But yes, we will probably have the first half an hour talking about the new World Eaters rules. And then we will have the next hour talking about nonsense. Because Lucy's with me. She's not. Your mic's still not moved yet, so I haven't unmuted you. And if we talk about 10th edition for the whole hour and a half, within 40 minutes she'll walk out pissed off because she can't talk about 10th edition. Because you don't know.
It's not about me not being able to talk. It's just a bit much. It's a bit much. Can we just have one night?
I mean, it's not a bit much. Carl, thank you for the gifted 1 as well. Look at you people. Look at that. 12, 13 new in a night. Amazing. Amazing. You people are incredible. Thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight, you gorgeous humans. Let me add the, did I just say 13 to 755 68. There we go. Cool. Right. Beautiful. Thank you so much, people. You're all amazing. I love you dearly. Now, one of my most favorite things in the world about making a slightly clickbaity-ish title is that you lot all jump to conclusions. Don't panic. I have seen you all suggesting in there that I will be going on a bit of a rant tonight. It's true, the title says World Eaters. It was good while it lasted. I'm going to explain. Before the World Eaters Codex came out in 9th edition, I thought they were a bit disappointing. I looked at those rules, and before I did my review, I was like, I'm not that blown away by it, and I'm a World Eaters player, right? Then they dropped, and I was still like, I still don't think they're going to be that great. And I played with them a few times. World Eaters have been incredibly strong, I feel like, in 9th edition. And I would argue that to some extent, they're too strong and certain abilities are far too reliable. Now, Blood Tithe. I loved Blood Tithe mechanic. One of the reasons why I love the Blood Tithe mechanic so much is because it was very narrative. Now, this is, in fact, something that I do think should have carried over to 10th edition as their army special rule. And I'll explain in a brief moment when we read through the Cornate rules why, or the fact that it's disappeared, because it hasn't carried over, which is a shame because the Blood Tithe mechanic is super nice. You gain Blood Tithe points for things that die or murder or whatever, and then you spend them on abilities. What I will say is those abilities at times, when stacked specifically, could become pretty obnoxious, right? They could become a bit mad, right? They could. However, I loved it because I was playing with them. It's not a problem. The biggest problem that we've had so far in World Eaters, in my honest opinion, is the fact that for 6 Blood Tithe points, you could bring back Angron. And you would see him coming back 2 or 3 times every single match that he's played in.
Space Marines, Demons, Sisters, Guard, Weep, Bugs, Votan, Sisem, and Undead Robots. You're welcome.
You just listed all the ones we've seen so far. Thank you so much, John, for the 20. You're amazing. So in summary, in honesty, World Eaters have probably been a bit strong for a while. Now, I am sad that the actual mechanic itself didn't port over. I would have liked to see that mechanic port over. I would have liked to have seen them maybe change some of the abilities and how they work and how they interact. We've got something different. So I'm going to share my screen and we're going to talk about the new World Eaters rules. And Luce can annoy you all in chat, typing away over there, whilst I read these out, okay? I have my trusty mead with me, so reading might get slightly worse. Maybe. So we'll screen share, and we have Faction Focus World Eaters, 12th of May, 2023. They're coming out today. Right. Oh, James Hobbs, thank you for the 5. Is Luce coming out on the Ming Saturday night? I heard she's bringing a shoe to drink out of. Luce isn't coming, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's in order of best to worst. Space Marines, Demon Sisters, Guard, World Eater, Bugs, Votan, CSM, and Undead Robots. Maybe. I actually probably grade the CSM slightly higher, John, interestingly. Okay, Faction Focus World Eaters. Love for the Blood God. The galaxy is in turmoil. Friends and family turn upon each other, and entire worlds burn to the laughter of thirsting gods. What we're trying to say is, it's the best it's been in years, at least if you're one of the chosen servants of the Blood God. The World Eaters are Slaughter incarnate, and they showed up just in time to reap the benefits of a brand new edition. Let's see these newcomers to Warhammer 40,000. Let's see what these newcomers to Warhammer 40,000 can do with a fresh new set of rules. Obviously, they're not actually new, but they have a new codex, right? Interesting. I'd love to know, as a complete aside, maybe this is what we'll start talking about when we finish talking about 10th edition rules. As a slight aside, I'd love to know the legalities on, hey, we've released a codex that you can buy in February. Hey, 4 months later, it's invalidated completely and you've wasted your money. I'd love to know where that sits, retail law-wise. Anyway, if brutal close combat is the name of your game, the World Eaters are the only players worth looking at. Not true. Their bloodletting skills are off the charts, and now that everyone's just a bit tougher all round, they have plenty of time to get stuck in. That's not to say that the Sons of Angron are all brawn and no brain. Khorne's chosen legion are surprisingly adept at wresting control of objectives away from their opponents and can lock down their territory, even as their warriors surge off in search of more blood, skulls, and other things of this nature. Faction rules. Okay. So this is where we used to have the blood tithe, and I was very, 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 very sure we would keep it because I was very sure the World Eaters Codex had already been written as a kind of temporary sort of test at 10th edition type style. If you think about the two detachments they've kind of got, it kind of made sense, right? Khorne, like all of the Chaos Gods, can be fickle, but the World Eaters enjoy his favour more often than most and are infamous for their rugged ability to ride the tides of war. The fluctuating attention of the Legion's patron is represented by the Blessings of Khorne army rule, which has you roll a pool of dice each battle round in order to channel Blood God's power. To be clear, by the way, chat, before I read this rule out, right, this rule is strong, right? I think it's good, but I just preferred the old mechanic narratively. The old mechanic narratively for me was better narratively. The more things you murder, the stronger your army gets. This blessing that we have right now has absolutely zero requirement for you to murder fucking anything. You just roll dice. There has no requirement for you to kill anything. That's why I preferred the old rule. Kill or be killed, blood for the blood god, skulls for the skulls thrown, Khorne cares not, all that nonsense, very strongly represented by the fact that you kill things or things get killed, you gain blood tithe points, you spend those blood tithe points. This requires you to do none of that. I don't like it. I also like the fact with the current Blood for the Blood God rules, you start the table with none, you don't get any benefits. So this one, start the first battle round, you get to do something, despite the fact you've not actually made any sacrifices to Khorne. So this is arguably in places stronger, because you turn 1, and we'll explain. There's a couple. Imagine if you get 2 abilities turn 1. I'll explain, right? If your army faction is World Eaters, at the start of the battle round, you can make a Blessings of Khorne roll. To do so, roll 8d6. You can then use these dice to activate up to 2 Blessings of Khorne from the Blessings of Khorne list. Each Blessing of Khorne specifies the dice result it requires. Where a number is specified, a double or triple of that value or higher is required. You can only activate each Blessing of Khorne once per battle round. Any unused dice for the Blessings of Khorne roll are discarded. Once activated, each Blessing of Khorne applies to all units from your army with this ability until the end of the battle round. Again, narrative doesn't really make sense. So in turn 1, you could get an ability that you then can't do in turn 2, and the whole point in Blood for the Blood God, etc., is it's cumulative. It grows in power. It gets stronger. This feels more Tzeentchian to me than corny, if I'm honest. Of course, it's 8 dice, so what exactly do you do with these rolls? If you guess, spend them to upgrade your army with potent effects chosen from a list of 6 powerful abilities, you're right on the money. A furious war cry to accompany your choice is recommended, but not mandatory. again, I need to make this very clear. I think this is a strong army rule. So it's not even about the fact that they've got weaker, like all the Votan players are moaning about. This is still a strong army rule. I just don't like it narratively as much. They could have had the same kind of abilities, but with a blood tie thing. I don't know. I'm just a bit... I feel like there's flavour been lost here with World Eaters, personally, right? Rage Fueled Invigoration is any double roll. So you roll 8 dice, right? If you're rolling 8 dice, you are guaranteed to have at least 1 double roll. Guaranteed to have at least 1 double roll. Chances are you're going to have at least 2 double rolls, okay? So any double roll. Add 2 inches to the move characteristic model in this unit. Decent. World Eaters, like, at the moment... Everybody takes Lord Invocatus because he adds 2 inches to 8 bound and Berserkers, right? This guy adds 2 inches to the move characteristics of all models for all World Eaters. Just for 2. So this is a guaranteed ability every turn. So a guaranteed ability every turn, your Berserkers are moving 8 inches. What? It couldn't get worse, right? Wrathful Devotion, again, any double. Right, models in this unit have the Feel No Pain 6+ ability. If models in this unit already have the Feel No Pain ability, add 1 to the Feel No Pain rolls. So if you roll 8 dice and mathematically you get 2 doubles and then not a high number, you could every single turn feasibly add 2 to your move characteristic and have Feel No Pain 6+ on your whole army. In current World Eaters, you have to pay for Lord Invocatus, and you need 4 Blood Tithe points before you can get the 6 up Feel No Pain. Strong, right? Martial Excellence, a double 3. So in those 8 dice, if you have 2 3s, you can buy this one. Remember, you only have 2 of these. You can't have more than 2 a turn. Melee weapons equipped by models in this unit have the sustained hits 1 ability. Exploding 6s. They get exploding 6s if you have a double 3 in there. Total Carnage. If you get a double 4, or if you get any triple, you can put Total Carnage on, right? Each time a model of this unit is destroyed by a melee attack, if the model has not fought this phase, roll 1d6. On a 4+, do not remove it from play. The destroyed model can fight after the attacking model's unit has finished making its attacks. It's removed from play. It's fight on death, apart from you have to roll a 4+ for it. Now, we've already seen things that fight on death without having to roll a 4+ for stratagems. If you choose this as one of your abilities and you never roll a 4+, you're going to be pretty pissed. So I don't like this roll. I think this is a bit shit. I'd rather have a 1 CP fight on death, right? Double 3+, yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you have doubles, Pip, and they're 3s, you can use that, right? But for a double 4+ or a triple, you can go Total Carnage. Warp Blades, double 5 or any triple. Melee weapons equipped by models in this unit have the Lethal Hits ability. So that is 6s to hit auto wound. That's fine. I mean, to be clear, the only one I don't like is Total Carnage, because you have to roll a dice to see if you fight on death after you've already used a double 4 or a triple to pick this ability. That's just a bit shitty. Flat fighting on death would have been too good, to be clear. So I'm not saying they should have just fought on death for free, because that's far too fucking strong army-wide. But this is just a bit of a shit roll on a 4+. I don't like it. And then finally, Unbridled Bloodlust, double 6 or triple 4+. So if you roll boxcars, if one of your doubles is 6s, or you get 3 4s or 3 5s, you can use Unbridled Bloodlust. This unit is eligible to declare a charge in a turn in which it advanced. Let's say you roll 8 dice. You get a 2, a 2, a 5, a 4, a 4, a 4, a 6, a 3, and a 1. Okay? At that point, you can put on, add 2 inches to the move characteristics and models in your unit, and you can put on advance and charge. What? Wow. You choose after you roll. Yeah, so you roll your 8 dice, Resident Rum Drinker, and then you pick what you want out of this table, depending on what dice rolls you've got. Now, again, to clarify, I need to get this very clear before people think I'm having a moan, because this is one of my armies that I feel like it's been nerfed. I don't feel like this has been nerfed. I feel like this is really, really good. There are chances where in turn 1 you can get +2 inches to your move and advance and charge, and I think that's mental good. It's very good. So in terms of rules, I'm not complaining about the strength or power of what they've announced so far. As I've said, the only one I don't really like there is the Total Carnage one. Fighting on a death on a 4+, we've already seen it again. We've already seen 1 CP stratagems that let people fight on death for free. That just kind of makes me feel a bit shitty as a World Eaters player. I would have preferred something different or better. Auto fight on death, but you hit a weapon skill 4+ instead of 3+, or auto fight on death, but you half your number of attacks. I don't know. I don't know what that would look like. Or you roll a 3+ at least to fight on death is a little bit better than a 4+, okay? However, It's just less thematic than Blood Tithe, right? It's just less thematic. Anyway, let's carry on, because I'm conscious I don't want to bore people with World Eaters rules forever. Each boon lasts only until the end of the battle round, but they affect all units in your army. Demonic allies are not included, as they lack the ability. The range of options means you can pick up exactly what the Blood God ordered when there's butchery to be done. You even get to pick 2 of them, so a particularly lucky roll can supercharge your turn with speed, durability, or raw power as needed. Unit Spotlight. Khorne Berserkers make up the mainstay of a World Eater's force, barreling across the battlefield in a crimson tide with chainblades roaring and bloodthirsty orison to the Blood God's might. They combine the armor durability of a Space Marine with the strength and skill of true battle maniacs and can whip up a startling blood surge of speed once an enemy attracts their ire. 6-inch move standard, toughness 4, 3 up save, 2 wounds, leadership 6, objective control 2. They're a Space Marine. Leadership 6 is okay, I guess, but again, with Berserkers, honestly, I'm not that fussed about things like stratagems or even objective control. I just want to murder everything. Interesting there, ballistic skill remains at 3+, despite the fact that they're blood rage maniacs. But if you're like me, with any kind of Khorne Berserkers, you typically roll 1s and 2s to hit anyway, so that's not a problem. Then melee, the Berserker Chainblade is 4 attacks, and the Khornate Eviscerator is 3 attacks. 3 3s, 5 8, 1 2. 1. They've lost an attack compared to their current damage output. Not a bad thing, to be fair. Not a bad thing, right? Blood Surge. If you kill one with shooting, you can Blood Surge move. You can't Blood Surge when you're battle shocked. Okay. Icon. Each time you make a Blessings of the Blood God roll, if the bearer's unit is within range of an objective marker you control, you can reroll one of the dice. What interests me here is if you have 3 icons in range of 3 objective markers, does that mean you can reroll 3 dice? That'd be if you can do that, it starts to be even stronger how you manipulate these powers, right? Their objective control characteristic 2 and horrifying melee capabilities make Berserkers well suited to brawling over objectives, and once they're in range, an Icon of Khorne will make your Blessings of Khorne rolls more reliable. You get a reroll, I'm not sure how reliable that makes it. If you thought we could preview the World Eaters without showing off the Red Angel himself, you'd be incredibly wrong. Angron has barely finished tearing the last edition to pieces, and he's already back, just as you expect from an unbanishable demon. 14-inch move, down from 16. Toughness 11. He was toughness 8 before. I don't know if that's ported across. I feel like he's toughness 7 before, so maybe that has actually ported across okay. Save 2+, wound 16 is the same. Leadership of 5+, objective control of 6 is nice from Angron, right? And then he's got strike and sweep from Spine Grinder and Salmon. Yeah, okay. So his big powerful attack, right? 8 attacks down from 12, which was 13 on the charge. Weapon skill 2+. Strength 16 is the same. AP -4, I think, is the same. D6 +2 is different from D3 +3. D6 +2 has a higher potential maximum, obviously, but D6 +3 had D3 +3 had a more reliable lower end, but not bad, right? He's still doing minimum 3, which is decent, okay? The Ori can trade it in from 8 attacks to 18, so he goes +10. No more will you see Angron with 39 attacks. Okay, again hitting on 2s. Strength 8, AP -2, 2 damage. That's perfectly fine. I think his melee profile in the new edition with reduced lethality is still terrifying, right? He then has Deadly Demise D6, so he blows up for D6 more wounds. He can Deep Strike still. He gets Blessings of Khorne, of course. He gets Reborn in Blood and Wrathful Presence as some abilities. Reborn in Blood. Each time you make a Blessings of Khorne roll, if this model is destroyed, you can use a 666 from that roll to use this ability. If you do so, this model is no longer destroyed and is placed into reserves. This is where I was nearly a bit sick. With its full wounds remaining, he gets, like, not 8 this time. He comes up with 16 wounds remaining. You do need 666s. You can fish for them with rerolls, right? What it doesn't say is whether this is an additional ability or whether you can use the 2 Blessings abilities and keep 3 6s for this. That's mad, though. Full wounds, right? Wrathful Presence, you pick one of the abilities to the left-hand side. You've got Glorious Bloodletting, right, where you get +1 to charge for World Eaters units within 6, which includes himself, which you used to have to get Blood Tithe points for. You used to need 3 Blood Tithe points for that. Don't need to do that anymore. Just put that aura on in turn 1. In fact, so now, in turn 1, you could be in a position where all of your World Eaters go to +2 inches to move, which means Angron goes back to a 16-inch move. Your Berserkers go to 8-inch moves. They can all advance, and they can charge with +1. If you get the right Blessings of the Blood God rolls. This could be terrifying, right? Infectious Rage is his other aura. World Eaters below starting strength add 1 to their tax characteristics. If they're a single model, they just have to have taken a wound. They get +1 attack. And then Righteous Slaughter, which is an aura. World Eaters within 6 inches of this model, reroll hit rolls. And don't forget, he benefits from all of his own auras because he is a World Eaters model who's within range of himself. He has a 4+ invulnerable save as standard. I actually think he is pretty fucking terrifying. I think he's good. I think he's really good still. Okay. Each sweep of Samniarius and Spine Grinder, fucking hell words, can bisect whole squads of Space Marines Reborn in Blood. Returns an ability as an ability that directly interacts with your Blessings of Khorne. So plant a few icons of Khorne atop blood-soaked objectives to make it even more likely that a slain demon Primarch will come roaring back onto the field. Interestingly, it says a few icons on blood-soaked objectives. So this means I would assume that if you have more than one icon on more than one objective, you can reroll more than one dice. Canny Cornates will also notice that his Wrathful Presence now triggers in the charge phase, allowing you to choose exactly the right order of the fight phase to come. Really powerful. Crucially, you can use these in the same turn that he deep strikes, because it's in the charge phase, immediately bolstering your nearby warriors upon his bloody manifestation. That's terrifyingly good, right? Weapons Spotlight. Few weapons of the World Eaters Armory. This is point. I'm not even going to read this. The weapon spotlight they've showcased for World Eaters, this is where you can tell they're getting desperate. It's a demon gore cannon because of all those Lord of Skulls we always see on the tabletop. Right? I would read it out. No one fucking cares. Stratagem Spotlight, Blood Offering. This one's really nice for 1 CP. Being at the forefront of every bloody assault is a dangerous business, and despite their strength and resilience, the World Eaters often find themselves cut down under the furious guns of their foes. Luckily, Khorne doesn't particularly care from whence each blood offering flows, and is entirely happy to corrupt a battlefield consecrated by the deaths of his own warriors. Okay? Any phase. Target a World Eaters unit from your army that was just destroyed while it was in range of an objective marker. You can still use this stratagem even though the unit was just destroyed. The objective marker remains under your control even if you have no models within range of it until your opponent controls it at the start or end of any turn. What's interesting is you spend this stratagem once and your opponent never moves on to that objective. You hold it for the rest of the game for 1 CP. That is an incredible stratagem for 1 CP, I think. Especially when it's just a World Eaters unit being killed on an objective. That's really good for 1 CP. Big fan of that stratagem. Very strong. Very, very strong. Right. We then have a word from the studio. I like to read these out to see what they say. The World Eaters are brutality made manifest, a blunt object of intense trauma. I often feel like that the studio don't write these. I feel like the authors for the community page writes these and just fucking sticks a name in the middle. Intense trauma that rides an overwhelming wave of hyper-violence and bloodshed, says Rich from the Warhammer Design Studio. When designing the rules for the World Eaters, it was clear that they shouldn't have to rely on tricks, shenanigans, or any kind of overly complex interaction to get their point across. They are not subtle or cowardly, and neither are their rules. With high strength attacks and AP values across the board, every unit hits like a truck with no brakes going downhill. Their army rule, Blessings of Khorne, allows them to adapt on the move in order to provide just the right type of senseless violence at just the right time. Unless you don't get the right dice rolls, then you can't do just the right type at just the right time because it's random and you can't pick it like you could do with Blood Type before. It was a better mechanic, GW. You should have put that one back in. And additionally perform signature moments such as the potential gore-fueled resurrection of their unstoppable demon Primarch Angon. Now that being on 666 is pretty good, right? Pretty good. Someone says check asterisks is at the bottom. As their own standalone faction anyway, the World Eaters have always been around for ages. We knew that. No, you still can't blood surge when your transport gets destroyed. Units forced to disembark when their ride goes boom are automatically battle shock that turn. Extra rule there for you beautiful people. And that's because it says with the blood surge ability on the Khorne Berserkers that if it is battle shocked it can't blood surge, right? That's the only time a battle shocked Berserker unit is a problem. Okay, so that is World Eaters rules now, faction focus for 10th edition. Now, as always, I say this every single time, and still people don't listen to me, and still we get what we can only describe as absolute cunts in the comments who go, this army's now unplayable, these rules are fucking awful, this is terrible. And as I keep saying, you have seen a 5% snapshot of your fucking codex. You've seen an army rule, sometimes a faction rule, maybe one to do data sheets, maybe one stratagem, and maybe one weapon set. You don't have your codex, you don't have your 6, 7, 8, 10 detachments, you don't have the 6 stratagems that go with all those attachments, you haven't got all your data sheets, and you haven't got your fucking points. So based on all that, I think that as an army-wide ability, that looks pretty decent and pretty strong. It looks good. Do I think it's broken? I can't say, because we don't know what the rest of it looks like yet. And we're not stupid enough, whilst we're still in 9th edition, to be making 10th edition battle reports, right? Because I don't like to do that kind of clickbait, at least. However, I think that these are shaping up to be almost as much fun as they currently are. And I say that as a player who plays World Eaters, who has loads of fun with them right now, and often, on occasions, my opponents don't have as much fun necessarily. Because World Eaters have been quite good, actually. I've played a number of competitive games with them where I've scored 90 to 100 points quite comfortably. Quite comfortably, okay? And so I have obviously, and that's without really trying, because units die on objectives. I gain blood tithe points, I gain secondary objective points. I trade those blood tithe points in, I gain more secondary objective points. Right, World Eaters have actually been very, 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 very good, right? And as much as I'm really against the fact that they've switched from the blood tithe mechanic to this new mechanic, I don't have any problems with the actual rules they're giving us. I just preferred the old mechanic from a narrative perspective. And when I say I preferred the old mechanic, I didn't necessarily even want them to keep the old rules tied to that mechanic. They didn't have to keep the exact same rules we had before tied to the exact same blood tithe points. In fact, I would have encouraged them not to do that, because at times stacking some of those rules is obnoxiously strong. You could have tied these new rules to that old mechanic and increased the blood tithe required, etc., etc., etc. There's things you could have done, but I think they should have kept the old mechanic. So when I say it was good while it lasted, I mean blood tithe, which I loved, because blood tithe for me was a hark back to old Khorne Demonkin, and I'm sad that that has gone after basically 4 to 5 months of use. And the fact that actually I could just rock up and not really try very hard and score tons of points, it was good while it lasted. I still think Wild Eater is going to be loads of fun. Have you just moved your microphone cable?
Yeah.
I heard it on the mic, on the headset, which means they heard it.
Oh, sorry, my pen knocked it.
Oh.
Sorry.
Anything to interrupt.
Yeah.
Anywho, that's my thoughts on Codex World Eaters. I'm actually really looking forward to running with them. I'm still looking forward to playing them. Although I don't, like I say, prefer the mechanic, I still think it's a cool mechanic. I think there's some cool rules. I like it. Blood Tithe was only shit because of the scoring from it. I agree, Blood Tithe makes more sense. Narratively, right? Narratively. So I'm also really, 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 really hoping that they get rid of faction-specific secondaries anyway, Clubber Watson, which means that those sorts of things would be gone anyway and it wouldn't be a problem, right? There we go. I'm happy with World Eaters. So 28 minutes into the stream, there we go. I'm happy with what they've showcased, but I can't tell if I love World Eaters or not at the moment because I haven't got the whole codex in front of me, nor have I got the rules, nor have I got every other faction's rules. So I don't know if they're unplayable, like the fucking morons that keep commenting on YouTube. The internet's a strange place, Luce. Anyway, we're going to jump into some super chats first because I've missed a couple whilst I've been chatting. So JJ, aka Albino Boy, welcome to the channel as a Hissir. Just a Hissir, Luce. He is just dipping the tip in.
Risky.
Just a tip, right?
You can still get pregnant from the tip.
But then Jonathan Richardson, he upgraded to Jarl, which means he's what?
He's committed.
Just past the head. Because we go up to Acer, right? So at this point, he's not balls deep, but he is just past the head.
Worst sex ed ever.
So thank you so much, Jonathan Richardson, for becoming a Jarl. Oh yeah, next up is Admech. I've just refreshed that. Next up is Admech. That'll be really interesting, Admech. So thank you, Jonathan Richardson. Are you the Jonathan Richardson who's on like things like 8 out of 10 Cat Says Countdown? Please. JJ, yeah, thanks, man. Thank you for becoming a channel member. Thank you for dipping your tip in. Christios, thank you for the 2 and then the 2. So thank you for the 4. My spawns are worthy sacrifices on objectives, well, especially for spending 1 CP, right, and holding it for the rest of the game. What is Khorne's favourite game? Blood Yahtzee. Apparently so, yeah. Apparently so. You can blood surge into combat now. You can do that now. You've always been able to blood surge into combat, Ryan. That's been a thing. At least, I say that having not blood surged for ages, but it was a thing when we protested it. Interesting. Who knows? Right. So, first things first, chat. Let me know what you think of it all in the channel, right? No, he's not the Jonathan Richardson. Oh, I thought it was the John Richardson.
Rubbish.
Who wears the cardigan. Do you have a cardigan, John? Can you put it on for us, please? So first things first in chat, please let me know what you think. Secondly, massive shout out to everybody who's become a member, gifted a member, or who super chatted already. You people are amazing. Don't forget we don't... Oh, fuck me, I still haven't done that. We donate 10% of our revenue to charity every single month. Our channel charity of choice is Models for Heroes, !M4H. And I still haven't sent him a portrait photo yet.
I feel like that's not an accident.
It is an accident. I didn't mean to do that. I don't mean World Eaters seem crazy strong. Yeehaw, I'm ready for it. I mean, the snippet we've seen, they look good. So does this mean all other Chaos Codexes are going to be dice rolls of their god? I hope not, Escapade, because I would like it to be different. Like, I hate it when they do that. I hate it when they go, oh, that Corn's an 8 dice roll mechanic, so Zinch is going to be a 9 and Nurgle's going to be a 7. I don't like that. I'd rather they had something different each, right? That's what I prefer anyway. So I one thing I am interested in, Chaotic Failure, thank you for the 5. One of the things I am interested in, and this is something that I have started to think about quite a lot, right? And I don't know if there's anyone... So Lou said this to me the other day. I can't remember who we were talking to or about. And you said something like 40k seems to attract a bunch of really clever people.
Yeah, definitely. Because
a number of them are like lawyers and solicitors and fucking brainiacs and people with many more brain cells than I have, right? So I have met a number of people who watch the stream who are in some form of law. Reckless says, I think losing blood ties makes sense in a less killy 40k. Okay, I get that. I understand that. Maybe you just reduce the cost, though. I still prefer the old mechanic. So maybe someone out there deals in things like retail law. Who knows? We have 352 people watching right now. Maybe one of them somewhere knows something about retail law. Possibly, perhaps, maybe. Is there any other thing you can think of, Luce, where a company sells a product that they then invalidate within 6 months and no one knows it's coming at the time in which they buy that product? Or a company that sells a product that up until the day in which the next one comes out, that then invalidates that previous product. So World Eaters, which is what we've just talked about tonight, this has happened quite a lot, right? So the Codex came out start of this year. So players have had it for 4 months. It's now going to be no good. Arguably, it's already no good because no one wants to play 9th edition anymore, right? And up until the day that Codex preview came out, they were still selling models to World Eaters players that when that Codex preview came out, made those unit choices completely illegal for their army. So a person on day 1, so D-Day -1, before the preview came out, could have spent 300 quids on Chaos models to paint them World Eaters, only to find out the next day that he can't use them in his army anymore.
So the only 2 things I could very loosely liken that to is the retail industry, that I can go into a shop and buy a coat, and next week that same coat is on sale.
Right, okay, right.
That pisses me off, but
doesn't invalidate your coat.
It doesn't invalidate, but it's a feels bad, massive feels bad. But then the other thing I could liken it to is things like Sky. How when you take out a package, but your mate gets a better package, and it doesn't invalidate your one, but it's still a bit like, well, you didn't tell me. But that's the thing. So okay, I accept all those things are shitty. Like, we've been through those things ourselves, but none of those things invalidate it. People are saying video games, but unless you buy something for a video game that you flat then can't use, it's not invalidated because you can still use it. If I couldn't use the product, I'd be absolutely calling up customer service.
So. And I'm not trying to hate on GW right now, right? This isn't my point. I love Games Workshop. I love 40k, but I feel like with what's happened with World Eaters players, arguably Guard players to a point. So World Eaters players who've been playing World Eaters for years and years and years had built a probably sizable collection of models. But when this new codex that came out 4 or 5 months ago came out, it invalidated somewhere in the region of 80% of their models. For a lot of people, because Games Workshop brought out a whole new model range. Can you
not use it at all?
Not for World Eaters, no. So arguably, and this is an arguable point, chat. I'm interested in what you think as well, people. Arguably, right? If you had Chaos Bikers that you'd painted red and put World Eater shoulder pads on, if you had Chaos Raptors that you'd painted red, put World Eater shoulder pads on, Chaos Warp Talons, Chaos Obliterators. The list goes on, right? Chaos Possessed, etc., etc., etc. And you did all these things, Chaos Chosen, and you put World Eater shoulder pads on them and painted them red, arguably, the day the preview book came out for the new World Eaters Codex, you realise that was all wasted time, effort, and money because they were no longer legal for your army choice. You could run them as Chaos Space Marines under different rules. Okay, you could do that. But for some people, that's not good enough. I have this army. It's now invalidated. Okay? Now, I'd love to know where the legal stance on that is. I would imagine I'd imagine there's precedent out there somewhere. And I'd imagine that precedent out there somewhere is like, if a customer has X amount of notice that this product's no longer going to be supported or something. I don't know. Or maybe there isn't. Maybe there is no precedent, right? William Will says, Liam, buying milk. Literally unusable after a week. Always have to get a newer release. So maybe there isn't any precedent. Maybe this isn't a thing. Maybe this isn't something that exists, okay? But because I have no idea if this actually does exist. We just seem to have accepted this with Games Workshop's practices in years.
I find it bizarre. Absolutely
bizarre. And I'll give you another example, chat, right? A codex comes out on day 1, and 10 days, 14 days later, you get an FAQ, which makes some of the rules in your codex different. If your Leagues of Votan, codex gets previewed on the Saturday, FAQ'd on the Wednesday.
Consumer Rights Act 2015 is in effect a guarantee for the consumer against poor workmanship and misrepresentation for a period of time during the life expectancy of that product, which should be no more than 6 years in the UK.
Interesting.
Got my first and last 9th edition tournament tomorrow and Great Hall Gathering on Sunday. This is good way to celebrate my 22nd birthday. World Eaters look interesting. Luce, how's the allotment going?
Yeah, it's going good. I think I've got
How many veggies are in the ground?
I think I've got 12 things on the grow.
Oh, 12 things on the grow.
Did you see what I did there?
No, I did, yeah. I haven't drank enough for that kind of humour, honestly. Consumer Rights Act is interesting. So Codexes is one thing, right? So Leagues of Votan was an army rule book, right, which came out on preview on the Saturday with people like me having access to be able to do reviews of it. Mm-hmm. And I think it was like the Wednesday or Thursday that week, they released a rules update for that codex. The general public didn't have it yet, right? But they had been able to pre-order it. So then the next Saturday, people are getting their £125 army boxes with limited edition codex in that's now wrong because they've already updated the rules for it. Now, quite honestly, arguably, that's fucking flat incompetence.
Did they offer any kind of refund or?
Well, and this is my question. This is where I find it really interesting, because if you had decided, how many of you did buy the Votan box, and how many of you sent it back or asked for some kind of compensation? And if any of you did ask for that, because the thing is, I think often 40k players in these circumstances quite frequently just kind of roll over and show their belly and go, "Oh no, it's fine, don't worry about it." But how many of you did? And if you did, what happened? Ryan King says, and that's why they offered the refund, did they? I didn't know that.
There you go. No more feels bad.
Interesting. Easton says you don't have to make the move to 10th edition though. You can still play 9th with friends. True, I guess. I guess that's their loophole. I guess that's like when a game is superseded with a new version of the game. You don't necessarily have to stop playing the old game. It's interesting. Anyway, thank you so much to, I think I said thank you to Chaotic Freddy for the gifted 5. I just need to update it on my little tracker thing. My little tracker. Where is it? 7.5. There we go. We can hit 800 tonight.
Whoop, whoop. 800
on Corn Night would be impressive. I'm just saying. Mordy Hammer, thank you for the 5. Only lawyers and doctors can easily afford Warhammer.
True story.
Well, I don't know about doctors anymore. They're all striking, aren't they? So they probably don't get paid. Dave B.
Got loads of Warhammer time now.
All the time to paint, yeah. No excuse to have an army ready. Hello, Good Bean, says Dave B. Thank you for the 2. We're Puppy. Thank you for the 2. Video game DLC can be like this. Also see Destiny 2. I didn't play Destiny 2. I only played Destiny 1. Did that have a problem? What happened there? Tell me about that one. Then we've got James is 20, Big Bad Peter Game is 10. Thank you so much, you heroes. Looking forward to see. Is your Big Bad Peter Game, is your tournament at Element on the Saturday? Are you playing in the one dayer? Cass, thank you for the 5. World Eaters Bikers all the way. I dare Games Workshop to try and stop me, and events for that matter. Also, hey Luz, how is Toady doing?
I put Toady in the compost pile, and then I had to go and plant some sweet corn, and then when I came back to check on him, he was gone. So I am thinking positive and assuming he's hunkered down in the compost pile to keep away from the frost.
And not been squished.
And, well, he's so tiny, though. Probably. No, I'm being positive. He's hunkered down. I shall see him at some point when I need the compost pile again.
JT says, I managed to get a refund. Luckily, GW have the pool to give back the soul of my firstborn. Technically, you can still play any previous edition if you wanted. You can still play second. And this is the tough one, right? If you've got all the stuff for second, you can still play second. But if you don't have the stuff for it, it's not supported anymore. You can't buy it anymore. So arguably, certain games, if you've bought the new Star Wars game, the new Jedi Survivor game, you can...
Consumer Act 2015 does not apply. The consumer still can use the rules of a version of the game. The consumer can choose the efficacy of the product. You can still play any version.
But do you not think, Guy, that there's a grey area here, though? Because Votan is my case in point. Votan's probably the worst case scenario, but you don't think there's a grey area here whereby Votan Codex came out. So reading your chat, right, you could argue that when the book comes out, people could choose to ignore the rules update and still play with the rules that are in the Codex, couldn't they? They could do that, right? So in that regards, the product is fit for purpose because they can just use the rules in the Codex. But then if you want to attend an event, you can't. And actually, if you want to attend a Games Workshop official event, you can't. So at that point, it then invalidates the Codex. Right? I feel like there's a grey area here. And like I said, to be clear, right, I'm not trying to really shit on GW here. I'm not trying to say don't buy their products. I want more people playing 40k than ever before. It's better for me. More people playing 40k than ever before. More people buying and building and creating cool minis, all that kind of stuff, right? There is no benefit to me to try and boycott GW, and I never want to. What I would like to do is I would like them to improve their quality control department. Like, how many times is there typos, for fuck's sake? Simple typos. It's definitely a grey area. Disputes in grey areas can be settled in court. But that's never going to happen, though, is it? With GW's inability to have any stock in 9th edition World Eater supported either. Well, that's true, right? I guess. I'm still holding out, chat. I'm still holding out that the reason why there's no stock for anything else is because they're mass-producing 10th edition boxes. I'm still holding out. You laughing at me?
Yeah.
Holding out, that's what's happening. They've not had problems with stock. They've not had problems with supply. They're simply making loads of 10th edition boxes. And then when every single one of you goes online to buy your 10th edition box at whenever it goes on pre-order, you'll be able to get hold of one.
That's a great joke.
That's very nice. Supply chains are an issue. Here's the crucial thing. GW does not support that a 9th edition codex is usable for anything other than 9th edition. Most pages in codex have typos. Yeah. I mean, when you think about it, their rules are really just suggestions. House rules are a thing, and plenty of players are apt to adjust things in order to make them more fun for their playgroup. I mean, it's true. It is true. It is true, though. Right? Cass, thank you for the 2. I will rock up to a Games Workshop event with a Lego army. And unfortunately, Cass, they will turn you away. And I've seen them do that before as well. And I've seen them warn people. I've seen them warn people. I've seen them warn a person who went to a GW event, and every single model that he had converted. And every single model that he had converted was a base Games Workshop model, but he had converted it with third-party parts. And they warned him and said, we don't want to sit out on our tables again. And it wasn't a tournament. He just turned up to play one day. That was years ago. I will clarify, that was years ago. So it was probably, hopefully, not relevant. Anyway, Jill, thank you for the 5 gifted memberships. You're a legend. Zena, thank you for the 10. Nordos44, attention seeking with the 1. Thank you so much, you people. I've already added Jill's 5. We have to add Zena's 10 and Nordost's 1. I have to say that again. Zena's 10 and Nordost's 1.
I've seen someone turn up with a couple of, the big Titans
Yeah.
made out of cardboard boxes, but the like multi-pack of really little cereal boxes out of those.
Like the little Kellogg's variety pack thing.
Yeah. 2 Titans made out
I wonder
of
if they'd be
variety
okay with
pack.
that.
It was just a friendly club thing. It was the one I used to take Jim Jam to.
It's interesting. Midwinter Minis, I mean, you guys probably all know who he is already.
Models can be proxies, rules can be amended. Events are a single setting of a wider application. It's their product also. They reserve the right implicitly to amend, change and recall, no legal recourse.
So it sounds like Kai knows some stuff about this. I just feel like it's... Okay. We were talking on Wednesday, Kai, right, about how we're going to make me 800 years old. And we were talking about the morality of that then. Okay, so let's maybe come away from the legal angle here, because it sounds to me like Kai knows a fair amount about it, and legally they have no risk. Which I guess is evidential in the fact that so far there has been no problems, right? People haven't successfully sued GW. That's not a thing we've ever heard about. So maybe let's attack this chat from a moral perspective. Morally, how do they solve this problem? How do they solve World Eaters here being the one for me? Army valid, army stops. Army no longer valid because new codex has come out and no one knew what was coming in that. Do you think it would have been reasonable for them to give advance warning to World Eaters players, heads up, stop buying these units for your World Eaters? You know? I'm not saying that's the answer. Is that... Because, like, if you... Okay. It's hard to... It's like, the thing is, for me, it's hard to map this across to something else. iPhones. We know a new Apple iPhone is coming out every year. We know it's coming out roughly September, October time every year. Doesn't invalidate your old one, but you do know the new one's coming. When Apple updates and updates and updates, and 10 years later, and you're still on an iPhone 3GS or whatever the fuck they were called, and they will eventually release a statement saying that in the future, at some point, they'll give you the date, we will stop supporting software on the 3GS. Okay? Now, when there is an edition change, when we go from 9th edition to 10th edition, it's kind of explicitly known that they will stop supporting previous iterations of the rules, right? So when they go to 9th edition, when they go to 10th edition, we know for a fact that every single 9th edition codex will no longer be supported. We know that. I guess that's kind of okay, right? They also explicitly stated that boarding actions rules will continue to be legal. They'll continue to be okay and supported. So that's not something I have a problem with. However, with the World Eaters Codex, knowing that bikes and raptors and warp talons and blah and blah and blah 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 were all not going to be supported anymore.
It's a trap.
Is that something that, like, how do they solve that problem? Surely that's a shitty interaction between them and their customer base.
I think I would...
Hey, we're going to let you buy it. We're going to let you buy it. We're going to let you buy it. We know that you won't be able to use it. This is the thing that gets me, right? I know how far in advance that codex was written because I play tested it. Okay, so for let me work it back 6, 7, maybe 8 months. They knew that you wouldn't be able to use those rules in that army anymore, and they continued to allow people to buy them for those 8 months until they dropped the bombshell literally a week before the book's released and invalidates the old one and said you can't use this stuff anymore. From a moral perspective, that's really bad, right? But I don't like to focus on the negative. So what I'll ask you, chat, is how do they solve that? How do they do that better?
So the mobile phone argument you had, I accept that all the time because in my mind technology is always improving. So it makes sense in my mind that this mobile phone,
yeah, of course.
I would probably have updated it anyway.
Oh, but
for me, Warhammer being a board game, because my association of board games is they're a thing that sit in your cupboard for an undetermined amount of time, and every time you get it back out the cupboard, nothing has changed. You can still play it the same as you played it as a kid. So I think I would be a bit miffed. But then I don't play an evolving board game, so I'm not used to it.
I don't actually have any problem with GW updating rules and improving rules. And I also, to some extent, say World Eaters, which came out 4 or 5 months ago, who have been updated today, or I say updated today, who have had a preview shown today of their updated rules. They're going to have the shortest lifespan of Codex in 9th edition because it's going to have lasted, by the time 10th comes out, let's be honest, it's probably coming out within the next 2-3 months, I'd guess. So let's take an average, let's say 2, right? It's probably, that means that World Eaters is going to be valid for 6 months. So that's a very short lifespan for a Codex to be relevant. In any world, in anything, 6 months isn't a long time for it to be relevant necessarily. However, I have no issue with the rule set evolving, with it developing, with it growing, with it changing to a new edition, with them doing hard resets. I don't really have a problem with that. As long as I feel like they're making improvements overall to the game and the game state, I actually feel like I'm okay with it. I do feel like it's a bit shitty to only give a specific Codex 6 months of use before you're going to reset it. But at some point, some Codex is going to be the one that loses out, right? There's always going to be a Codex that gets the least amount of time before it has some kind of a reset or rules change. That's just a fact. That happens, right? It's out in June. Have they said it comes out in June? GW have already said it comes out in June. Oh, okay, interesting. So we know it's next month. Brilliant. Okay. So it's always a known fact that one Codex is going to get a small amount of time in the limelight before they have a reset. And I would. Even the rules, even your rules changing within 6 months, I don't have a massive problem with that one necessarily. I mean, look, I've just read the World Eaters rules and I'm kind of okay with it. I'm borderline excited to play them still. The big thing is, to me, is it's a 40k army isn't a small investment.
No.
Sorry. The wife's over there. 40k is really cheap. No, 40k is not a small investment, right? So if you were one of those people who a week before the World Eaters Codex got previewed, when I'm so excited for World Eaters, every time a Codex drops, a lot of their model range goes out of stock. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go on the website and I'm going to buy 30 Raptors that I want to build as Warp Talons for my World Eaters, and I'm going to buy 15 Possessed Marines because they're quite tasty in Space Marine, in normal Chaos Space Marines. They must be good in World Eaters. I'm going to do all those things, right? All those things, and then a week later the previews come out and some dickhead like me sits on stream with the World Eaters Codex and goes, by the way, you can't use Raptors, Warp Talons, and you can't use Possessed. And you've got hundreds of pounds of models they're on your desk because you were so excited and you bought them 2 weeks before the Codex come out, you started building them. Now, some of you are going to say, right, you shouldn't have bought anything until you saw the preview. And you're probably right. In fairness, you're probably right. But maybe they shouldn't sell it. Right? Legio Panda, Varak says it's going to be on the 24th of June, but then again, he doesn't leak stuff, or so he says. Yeah. I mean, so he's putting stuff like that out there, Legio Panda, supposedly thinking he's giving us a date, and then confused why they blacklisted him. That is literally the definition of a fucking idiot. Should leave a year after last Codex, just do narrative event and stuff for last year. I like that, Nanaka. I do, actually. Thank you for the 5 gifted memberships as well, man. You're a hero. And thank you, Big Ron, for the 1. That puts us on 42 for the night, and I've got to add the 6 to my tracker. It's hard work, this. Keeping track of numbers and stuff and things. Boom. There we go. Thank you, people. You're beautiful. Okay. Cass, thanks for the 2. Challenge accepted. Do GW even know me? Dave, thank you for the 2. Safe drive tomorrow and Sunday, everyone. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to the drive. In fact, that's a lie. This is a fact. The first hour and 40 to 45 minutes will be okay. That'll be comfortable. I'll have Brom in the passenger seat. He'll probably have his hand on my knee. We'll be chatting. Aww. It'll be nice. The window will be open. And then we get to Oxford and Eddie gets in the car.
You love Eddie.
I'm sorry, people. If you're going to Great Hall Gathering on Sunday and you've just found out Eddie is coming and you want a refund,
no.
Too late. Licking Ann, thank you for the 5. I love that name. Still waiting on my World Eaters order. I didn't even get to experience the World Eaters rules. Gore Daddy makes me feel good. Hashtag sad boy. Yeah, well, a lot of people were not even able to play 9th edition World Eaters because stock. But, you know, it didn't affect me because Games Workshop sent me like 9 boxes, so I'm all right. The only way would be to make people aware of lines being discontinued before new release, but they want to sell models. Right, okay. I have insider information from an independent retailer whose name I won't mention, who have said that actually every time GW announces a model refresh, so let's say, sake of argument, new Shining Spears or whatever, or new Banshees, they typically find that the old versions of those then sell out like that because people like to have the old classic.
That's nice.
So I feel like if it's just a replacement, they'll still sell. That won't be a problem. The bigger and they've kind of proven this, right? Because they come back with made to order quite frequently. How many of you buy that stuff, by the way? Made to order is an interesting concept, and I don't understand. Like, I'm not sure if it makes any or much money, but it must do. Because they bring out old derpy looking metal models. Has anyone bought it? Are they still metal when they bring them out as well? Eddie says, "What's worse, putting up with Joe's arse or my mouth?"
Ooh.
I'm gonna say Joe's arse is worse.
Yeah.
Because you have to open the windows, and if it's pissing with rain, that's not nice. But with Eddie, you can just turn the radio up.
Brom and Eddie, the poor man's loose and Joe. I'll let you decide who's who.
Aw, thanks, Tim.
Yeah. I'm sorry, people, if you have bought a ticket, but this weekend, I'm very much bringing the B team. Luz calls herself the B team, but she's actually A team with Joe.
Aw. I had fun last night.
Did you?
Yeah.
After the stream.
I feel like I'm getting quicker and quicker and a bit more on the ball, and when I hear the letters CP, I'm like, oh wait, that's me.
Yeah, you did all right last night with CP mostly.
I feel like although I've proper just dropped off a cliff halfway through, it's really hard to keep your energy up when you're in the corner because I've got no idea what you're saying.
Yeah.
So,
and normally she's like, no one puts Luce in the corner.
No, I'm not. And I'm still terrified that I'm accidentally going to push a button and I have to somehow say, babe, I've cancelled stream.
Yeah.
I don't know what I've done.
Cass says, thank you for the 2, Cass. Says, can't wait to play Where's Eddie at GHG. Oh, well, I don't know if Eddie knows this, but I'm hoping he's bringing his little hat and his red and white stripy top for the Sunday. He's going to pop, like every now and again, put it on and just pop up an element.
He must be so happy that every Halloween costume for the rest of his life is sorted. He doesn't have to think about Halloween ever again. He's sorted.
He doesn't have to think about Halloween anyway. He's always scares children. Solution, Joe's arse plus Eddie's mouth. No, thank you. Did you see the price of Steel Legion made to order stuff? Oh, I did.
Why would they change? They probably don't see a problem. Ethically wrong, but retailers are still selling out of date product. Element and Firestorm, you don't have to buy it. Caveat emptor.
Caveat emptor? Kai, it's Friday, I'm drinking mead. Normal words, please, mate. Sensible words, okay? It's a Friday evening, I'm very tired. So you agree, what you're saying though, you agree ethically wrong is where we're going with it, right? So why would they change it? Well, I'm not saying they do. Should they change it? I think if you're saying ethically wrong, we're suggesting that they should. How do they change it is the problem, right? Luce is S tier, says Tim. Joe is A tier.
I'm S tier.
That's the tier above A tier.
What does S stand for?
Special, I don't know.
Super duper.
Super duper is what we're going to go with, yeah. You're S tier, Tim says. And Joe is A tier. So he is one of the few people who's placed you above Joe. Because I'll be honest with you, most people place Joe above me. I mean, to be fair, in Tim's analogy, Joe probably still is above me.
You guys.
You guys.
What's S stand for?
Shit hot.
Oh. No, it needs to be a nice word.
Made to order of originally metal models are still metal. Bought some of the Blood Bowl teams when they came out and made to order. So people are buying these. Did anyone buy the Steel Legion stuff? Let the buyer beware. Ugh, I hate that. I hate that mantra. Just joined. What's up with Corn? Says David. They're there. They look good. We lost Blood Tithe, and that makes me a sad panda. Just human caterpillar, Joe and Eddie. Oh, it's starting to turn into 40k after dark at last. Only an hour in. We're getting there.
Naughty K strikes again.
I don't think it's ethically wrong that they continue to sell normal bikers. Of course it is. Have you seen the state of those models? That should be ethically wrong. The real question is, how many selfless healer apothecaries will there be? I really hope that rule goes. I really hope that rule goes, Jonathan, honestly. Jill says, sounds like when my missus started cricket scoring because we were all playing and it gave her something to do, she really got into it. Yeah, I think you were originally quite frightened of the deck.
My God. I don't like a microwave or a DVD player. And then there was a Stream Deck. And then
You didn't see it, chat. You didn't see it as well. She sat over in the corner saying, I don't like a microwave or a DVD player. She's pushing her glasses onto her face. I'm like, all right, Nana. Fucking hell.
Nana. I'm going to make a great Nana. No pressure on
When
the
glasses
boys,
go on
don't
women and there's guys involved, they're supposed to look like sexy secretaries or something, not like Nana.
I don't look like Nana.
I can't even do a microwave.
You know what? Fuck you. My stepmom's amazing. She's a great Nana.
S tier is Super Army. Super Army Soldier, said like Russ Kemp. Oh,
We
that
are
was a
super
great
magic
show.
men. We stay up till 5
Oh,
a.m.
you haven't ever watched that though.
What?
Extras
Oh.
by Ricky Gervais.
Oh, that guy.
That is amazing, that show.
He
Roski-
was really good in Derek and Afterlife. I can't watch Afterlife without sobbing. But it's just the stuff before. And some of his stand-up, I don't...
Extras is amazing, Luce. He got so many A-list celebrities in it.
Yeah, I know.
Like people like Samuel L. Jackson and Ross Kemp. And
But you all hyped it up, and then I was sat there like, blow my socks off. I'm about to see something amazing. And because you all hyped it up, you've ruined it for me. So then I was very underwhelmed and like...
Escapade says he prefers sexy tier, but Dave B's called it spanky wanky fantastic.
Oh, I don't know if I like that.
The fantastic bit doesn't fit there, Dave. Try again. Try then. Steel Legion makes sense to be in metal. Yeah, okay. Caveat emptor, buyer beware. Oh, that's why you all wrote buyer beware. That makes much more sense now. I was like, everyone's just written buyer beware. I was like, why? What are we scared of? But that's what it stands for. Okay, I'm fine. I get it now. Huge company making huge profit. Don't think they'll panic about the issue. I mean, they absolutely won't, Dan. Apart from, I mean, do we think GW will ever put themselves at risk with this kind of stuff? Like, I feel like certain occurrences that happen with the website going down, with people not being able to get hold of pre-orders, with them being scalped, with codexes being nerfed before they're out, with models being sold that are then instantly no longer relevant, with all these things that happen. Because let's be honest, if we look over the last, I don't know, 12 months, how many times have I been able to sit here and complain about something? Scalpers, websites crashing, queues at Warhammer Fest, codexes being invalidated before they come out, models that have been usable for an army for years no longer being usable, 525 million lieutenants, etc., etc., etc. Doesn't seem to be harming them at all, really, does it? To be honest with you. Like, I will always call them on their bullshit, but it doesn't seem to harm them at all. They just seem to crack on. Big Bad Peter Gamer, thank you for the gifted membership, by the way, my friend. 2 to go to 800.
Cass.
That means 80. That means 90 to go to 888 members on Corn Night with 26 minutes to go. Go on, Cass says what, Luce?
Cass says, came back and heard Sexy Nana. What did I miss? Oh, Cass.
I retract my hate of the Fest premium box since I'm getting a free digital 10th codex. It works out okay for the price, just about. Oh, that's good. See, and then they do things like this, Pip, which is, I don't, They can go so hot and cold. I need to be clear as well, there's other things they do that I think are amazing. Like, I feel like they've really listened to their customer base on a lot of issues over time as well. On the flip side, they've made some really positive changes. Like the cards that are coming out for in fact, 10th edition in general, I know some people out there don't like their faction rules, but 10th edition in general just seems to be an amalgamation of the majority listening to their audience. Majority. Max Dealey says, jumped onto Mordy and Glory's channel last night to hear about his game of 10th edition, and it was mind-bogglingly stupid. He banged on about how Abaddon was bad compared to Trajan's 9th profile. I mean, he also has videos that say 10th edition battle report, Max. I wouldn't listen to it at all. Your first mistake was going over there. At least we can use those lieutenants in 10th. Well, yeah, I mean, fair, yeah. You can only harm them, but not buying the bullshit anymore. Tom, that's true. The only way any company ever, whether that's Netflix, whether that's Apple, whether that's BMW, whether that's Games Workshop, whether that's Intel, whether that's any of those big companies, the only way they're ever really ever going to listen is when they're significantly impacted financially. Because even some of those companies, their share price can take a slight nosedive, and they won't change their behaviour. They just won't. But I don't think we're ever going to be in a place where enough people are ever going to turn off their support of GW, if I'm honest with you. In my opinion. This is a weird one to talk about as well, right? Because 3D printing is becoming incredibly crisp and accurate. And I would argue that I have seen some 3D print sculpts that are almost as clear as GW plastics. Not quite, but almost. Which, if you think about the progress we've made in the last 5 to 10 years for 3D printing, means that potentially in the next 5 to 10 years, they'll be as good as, maybe. And if that's the case, an individual potentially could be in a position where they invest somewhere in the region of £500 to £700 on a 3D printer, and then it's about £30 to £40 for resin, and then they can print what is GW equivalent of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pounds of the models for 40 quid of resin, right? At that point, that's potentially the only time they may see a sting in price. Maybe.
Do you think they'll bring their prices down if that happens?
No. I think the only way they stop that is that they the only way they solve that problem really is by going digital themselves and doing something like selling STL files or something. But I don't know if I'm not sure. Their model works for the shareholders. They don't need to change presently. Presently, Kai, that's the key word, right? Cass, thank you for the 2. # sexy nana.
No, that's not starting, Cass. Back that in. No. Stop it now, Cass.
Oh, brilliant. Has anyone told Liam that Berserker's Blood Surge can now move them into engagement range? I thought they could. I haven't used Blood Surge, I don't think, to move into engagement range for the whole time that I played World Eaters since we've had the book through. But they 100% could move into engagement range when they were play tested. I didn't know they'd removed that restriction.
# 3D printer for Liam.
Thanks, Zena.
Face.
We're a way off, though. We're a way off. It's quite a bit cheaper for printing out. So I was looking at 8K printers recently, okay? And the Elegoo 8K was like $499. And then the other one, which is a big brand, the Frozen 8K was like $600 to $700. And then the waterproof Elegoo resin on Amazon was $37.99. It's 40 quid roughly, right? So when I say £500 to £700 for an 8K printer and I 40 quid for resin, that was based on what I was looking at back in whenever I was talking about resin before, like Tuesday or something, Wednesday, I don't know. Chris Bailey says, hi Liam and Liz. Hey man, how are you? You can get a good 4K resin printer for £200. You can, but 4K resin printers aren't close enough, I think, to GW plastic standard. So I would be looking at 8K for that. Having looked at prints on both, 4K is not bad. It's not bad, but 8K is just that much more detail. Find a local hobbyist with a resin printer, buy the STL and go ham equals cheap, says JT. I bought 6 Dominator type proxies for the price of one Forge World Domitar. Can't speak to the quality, has not arrived yet, but I can't justify £70 for one model. It's not just that though, right? It's not just that. There's so many things on Forge World and resin, themselves in resin, that are extortionate. Right. And to be clear, when I keep talking about the fact that I support GW, right?
I've got a way you can keep Eddie quiet.
Currently 3D printers' price will reduce and be as ubiquitous as microwaves in 10 years. Everyone will have a 3D printer for almost all products, as retailers will sell files, not physical product.
When I worked on the railway, we started to use 3D printers to rectify defects. So if you needed a component, right, for a train that you couldn't get hold of, or if you wanted to invent, create, develop some kind of modification for a train, you could go and find a supplier, get a quote, have an engineer draw, blah 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 blah, or you just print the fucking thing, make it yourself, right? And we were in the process of developing and looking at a process to allow the tech team, the engineering team, to make adjustments and amendments using 3D printed parts. Right? It's amazing. There's so many applications for 3D print. We look at it in our little kind of narrow bubble of the 40k world and the hobby world. Now, and if I bought a 3D printer, if I got my hands on a 3D printer for the channel, I obviously would use it to smash out things in the hobby world. But there's things that we as a family could probably use a 3D printer for. And I feel like my eldest is 10, right? I think if I could teach him how to design and develop files for 3D printers and then print them, the world becomes your oyster at that point. Like, the amount of things you can do with 3D printers is amazing. Things you can invent, design, and then sell. It's quite impressive. And to be clear, right? This I bought recently. The fucking rip-off that is the Forge World Contemptor top half for the Sons of Horus, because I want a Sons of Horus one, right? This is something that personally I don't massively agree with. Selling me a torso for £25 when I used to be able to get a whole Contemptor for Sons of Horus is not the world's nicest feeling. I would have much rather spent a little bit more and got the whole Sons of Horus Contemptor. Now, if I'm honest with you, although again ethically this is wrong, and I am very clear about the fact that I believe ethically this is wrong, I would be more inclined nowadays with this product, I think, despite being cheaper than it was before, but it's not, but we'll go into that in a moment, to get these 3D printed, right? And the reason why this isn't cheaper, because this is £25 for the torso, but you've still got to buy the fucking Contemptor, which is plastic. So, F1 parts are printed, says Pip. Are they? See, I don't follow F1, but I'm not surprised at all. Like, F1, high performance sport. It's amazing, right? So that's a product that they're now selling for £25, right? And it's what, 3 pieces of resin printed? So how much is, Pip was saying earlier, the resin I was looking at wasn't good resin. Okay, so how much is good resin? Like, I don't know. I'm new to this world. So how much is good resin? How much is a good chunk of resin? £100?
Isn't it highly carcinogenic?
Like, future me can worry about that. I don't know. Someone tell me how much is decent resin, because I was looking, like I said, I was looking at that waterproof stuff, right, which is $47.99 something for the resin, which seemed okay for Elegoo resin for 8K. It said for 8K printers. I was looking at 8K printer, kind of made sense, right? It's the same company, same product. Surely they're going to want their stuff to be good, otherwise they were not going to sell any more of it. But if people know more about this stuff, I'm more than happy to roll over and show my belly on this occasion. If the ethical part is not an issue at some point, then get the full Contemptor as a recast. But I mean, the ethical issue is still a problem for me, because like, this is where I have a problem. Like, I say I'd be more tempted to recreate these. Truth of the matter is, I'm not going to buy these 3D because Games Workshop sell them, and I have a real problem with this from a... to be clear, right? Because I'm about to risk offending a bunch of people. You do what you do. That's fine, right? I'm not going to tell you that you're a terrible person for choosing...
IBM are using 3D printers to print heart valves. Japan are building apartments using 3D printers. M&S are currently investigating the use of printers to print clothing. The world is changing fast.
The world is changing super fast, Kai, yeah. I feel like Kai's from the future. Like, he knows all the things that are coming, apparently. So what I'm saying is, if you're one of those individuals who is buying these, right, at the moment, this is entirely down to you, right? And I'm not saying you're a horrible individual for doing it, to be fair, because the hobby is in a place where it is exceptionally expensive in a time where life is very, very costly right now, okay? So, you know what? You do you. That's fine. However, me personally, if it is a product that they currently sell, ethically, I won't print it or buy it printed, okay? If, however, it isn't a product they currently sell themselves, I then no longer have an ethical problem with it, okay? Because if you're directly copying a product another company sells, it's copyright infringement. There's no way around that. If someone creates this exact torso and sells it on a recast site, that's flat copyright infringement. You can't argue with it. They're taking someone else's idea and design and they're profiteering themselves, okay? However, one of the reasons why I've been looking into 3D printers My big Age of Darkness box down there comes with a Spartan tank. I was adding Demios pattern Rhino doors to my basket on Forge World, and I was like, I'll buy the old ones that are for the Spartans and the Land Raiders to put on my Spartan tank. Search the website, they don't sell them anymore. Well, I was like, maybe they're on the GW website, because now, for some reason, Horus Heresy stuff is on 2 fucking websites. Thanks, GW. So I went to the Games Workshop website, into Horus Heresy, searched all the areas, not there. So they don't make the doors for Spartans anymore. At that point, I'd be okay with printing a Spartan door out with a Sons of Horus logo on it, right? I'd be okay with that. If, however, let's say, right, and you're going to laugh at me, chat, now, and you're all going to call bullshit. I'm aware of this, but let's say I've now got 3 Land Raiders and a Spartan, and I've printed the doors out for all of them, and I buy another Spartan, and GW then start selling Spartan doors. I'd stop printing them. Because at that point, they're now selling the product. So I don't need to come up with an alternative because they have a genuine version. I feel quite strongly about copywriting and IP infringement and stuff like that, because ultimately, although perhaps not a very good one, I'm a creator. I create things, I create video content. So if someone took my Talking Heads content that I do right now, let's say someone took it, trimmed it down, posted it on their own YouTube channel and monetized that work, that'd piss me off. That's my work that they've monetized. It's not that different, right? It's like if someone used another person's song and monetized that. Just don't go after Ed Sheeran, because he'll win. Cass, thank you for the 5. Hashtag sexy nana. It's a course I can follow. Pretty sure Liam will headlock me at HG, but it's worth it.
No.
You're aging her beyond her years, Cass.
Yeah. Oh, I had a lady.
She's only 39.
I had the lady in the museum yesterday ask me if the 2 boys that were with me were my children, and when I looked at her like, what an odd question. Yes, they're mine. And she was like, oh, I thought you were only about 21. And I was like, oh, stop it.
Wow. What was she after?
I know.
Pip says, I agree with that. That's the way I've been printing the entire time. I mean, I think that's perfectly fine, right? And I think that's a reasonable way of doing things. I do, however, I will hold my hand up and say, when you see the price of, for example, Sons of Horus resin shoulder pads on the website, and then you work out how many you could print for standard resin and the difference in cost, I can 100% see why it would become incredibly tempting. Like what Titans do with your shorts, says Yestin. What do you mean? I give my shorts to them with permission to use on their channel. There's an agreement between us, Yestin, so that's fine. And if you think shorts are monetized, okay, chat, right? A view into the life of a YouTuber, right? Are you ready for this? Okay. I had a short recently that did incredibly well,
Chat,
right?
go and put the kettle on, because even if you have one of those gas whistling kettles, the kettle will be done quicker than me.
I had a short recently that is my best viewed video of all time, which is very, 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 very soul destroying when it's a 60-second video. But hey, it is, that's fine. This video has got, in its lifetime, 90,408 views. It was published on the 23rd of March, 2023. Okay, so it's a month and a half old, right? So it gained me 90,408 views. Right, that's more than I normally get in a month with all the rest of my videos combined. Okay, right. It also gained me 185 of the finest subscribers. Right? If anyone, the first person to get the amount of ad revenue that it made me correct to the nearest 10 pence, will win a £10 voucher. Ozzy says, so should I take down my Liam spent Lium Dempsey YouTube channel?
I saw that.
No, Ozzy, because it's you can keep it. But the first person who to the nearest 10 pence gets the amount of ad revenue I've made off of 90,408 views correct, I'll send you a £10 voucher. Element or GW, depending where you are. Oh, I still need to send a Combat Patrol box out, actually. Carl of Hodges says 90p, incorrect. Tim says £1.48, 83p. Okay, so you guys are quite low. I like how you're all putting the 3p's and 5p's on as well when I said to the nearest 10 pence.
Apparently, on a maths paper, if there's any maths teachers in there, I don't know how true this is, when you're writing money as your answer, you can't put the pound sign and the pence. It has to be one or the other.
Correct.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I feel like leaving, if I was to just put pence.
Now we've got the great content. Let me just looking through to see if anyone found the right numbers. I mean, fucking hell. I want to live in Stephen Lee's world because he reckons I made £137.58 off that short. I want to live in his world. Oh, no, not quite. We're not there. Someone was nearly there.
Ozzy, you're so horrible.
Look how desperate they are for 10 quid, these people, right? What's Ozzy said? Come on, Liam. We all know it's not the first time your best performance has been 60 seconds. I don't normally make it that long, to be honest with you. No one's going to make it, are they? 40k punk, 24.90. No. 79 quid, says Cass. No. 3,001.40 pence, says the Suave Lion. No, fucking hell, I wish. £12.10. Paint at Dawn wins. Paint at Dawn wins. He guessed at £4.70. 90,480 views. 83. Fucking hell. 90,408 views got me £4.73 before tax.
What are you getting taxed on that?
I get an income tax, don't I? Because it's income.
So what? What would be the tax on that?
Well, 20% is income tax, isn't it? So £4.70. 10% is 47. So 20% is
94.
90. Yeah, something 94. So take a pound off of it. £3.70.
Way!
But Paint at Dawn, send me a message. You've won yourself a £10 voucher. Your voucher has cost me about 3 times what I earned from that short.
Well done.
£4.74 off of 73. Sorry, I don't want to gain that extra pence off of a 90,000 viewed shorts. Now, shorts only recently were monetized, and YouTube made this massive thing. We're monetizing shorts. You can make advertising revenue from shorts. Blah 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 blah. £4.70. The 30% to YouTube has already been taken, Tim. That really is shit, says 40k punk. Yep. And a lot of you coming in low were like, hang on, no, you're joking, right? Are you serious?
I don't think you could even get a box of Magnums for that.
Not nowadays, no.
No.
Not nowadays. £4. So when people are like, why do you stream? Because normally I get one super chat and I make more than a fucking short that did 90,000 views. That's why. That's why we stream, right? Every single time anybody out there gifts a single membership to me, I basically make the same amount of money that I would have made from that short.
It's mad.
There or thereabouts. Well, I say that if you gift it, this is the thing, you gift a £5 membership, right? YouTube takes 30%, so I only get £3.50. But still, that's almost the same as I would have got from that short. It's like £1 less. So when I go on stream and you people like today, you guys are incredible. You've gifted 42 memberships, I think it is in total, right? So you've pissed all over that short revenue. Pip's got the answer loose.
What's that?
I've been doing it wrong all this time.
Okay.
Pip has got the answer. He said, just get millions of views. Easy.
Obviously.
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 Wrong.
Stop fanning around, Liam. Come on.
Lawrence Walker then says, it only took you 1 minute to make. Oh, Lawrence. Oh, my sweet summer child. 1 minute to make. It's a short, not a baby. It took me more than 1 minute.
So you get up at, well, I take you up a cup of tea, maybe at like 7 o'clock. Mm-hmm. And then you're maybe done. So from cup of tea to done on shorts.
And I make 2.
Sometimes we're looking at the afternoon.
Yeah.
Because you're such a fucking perfectionist.
So first thing you do, don't say sorry, man, it's funny. First thing you do is you research the topic. Mm-hmm. So you have to read websites. And you have to read the 40k Wikipedia page, and you read the 40k fandom page, and you'll look in codexes, and you'll research it. Then you'll start to write the script, and then sometimes you're comfortable with the script really early on. Sometimes you're not, and you start tweaking and tweaking and tweaking. And then once you've done that, you start recording the script. And sometimes, like when I do the rules previews, I read it, and it just flows beautifully, and I don't stumble over my words. And sometimes it's 8 o'clock in the morning, I'm still tired and waking up, and I can't fucking speak. And Luce has heard me shouting in here because I get so angry that I can't read my own fucking script.
Yeah.
Right? And then sometimes you think your script's good and you get halfway through the script and it just doesn't flow. So then you go back a step into your script writing. You go back into script writing. You go, that doesn't sound good. I have to move that around there. That alliteration is really bad. It's hard to read it out. So I have to change that alliteration because it's not right. And this is a lot of work for 60 seconds. And sometimes you go, that script is beautiful. And then you read the script and then you're like, cool, that's great. And you look at the recording and go, oh, it's 1 minute and 10 seconds.
Yeah. So
then you go in and you have to edit out breaths. You have to cut breaths out of the short to try and cramp it down to 1 minute. And sometimes you can't get it down to 1 minute. So what you have to do then is you go back to the script, take a chunk out, back to the recorder, record the fucking thing. Because sometimes if you try and take that chunk out in post, it just doesn't sound right anymore. It's too much of a jump from one word to another.
And what's really helpful is when you're on the 12th take and in the background, Liam can hear, who's a good girl? Who's a little Lemmy dog?
Yeah.
He's like, I'm going to fucking stab someone.
And then once you've finally got the script done, and then you finally got the short recorded, and then you finally got the audio file edited, and it is showing at less than 1 minute, you then bring it into your video editing software. At this point, I've done all of this in the audio recording software called Adobe Audition. And Adobe is currently causing me headaches as well because every day, literally every day, it's crashing right now. Anyway, so then you upload your video editing software, for me, Adobe Premiere Pro. You go into Premiere Pro, you dump your audio file, you then go back to Google. You go back to Google and you start searching for images because shorts are in fact videos, right? And you go back to that and you use images and you pull images from all over the place. And you don't realize this, but for certain shorts, for a short to do really well, tips, if you people are looking at starting YouTube channels, here's some tips for you, right? Shorts. Want a short to do really well? And I've done this is from experience and from experimenting with Titans as well. You want a short to do really well. Do not make it wildly generic about 40k. Don't just go, these are the Ultramarines, because no one fucking cares, because most people already know. So you need to do something that is much more specific, much more dialed in, much more narrative that people might not know yet. Something that you can write a semi-clickbait title with, right? So today on Titans, we launched a short, right, which is called blah, 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 blah. Where is it? Titans. We have called it Space Marines Eat Their Enemies, okay? And this is to do with the fact that Space Marines have a specific implantation that they do when they get given one of their 19 organs, which allows them to devour fleshy material, and then they can essentially learn about their enemies from eating their flesh, okay? Right? That's the thing. Very specific piece of lore, okay? Very specific piece of lore. So do you know how hard it is to find any actual imagery that's referencing those particular organs? So I think I spent maybe 90 minutes today trying to find suitable imagery. And if you watch that short on Titans, ultimately, that short is, in essence, majority generic Space Marine images. Because I couldn't find enough imagery after searching and searching and searching. So once I then saved my 12 potentially usable images, I then have to look at those images and go, none of them almost are HD enough to be able to use in a short that sits on a screen that's 1080p in resolution. So then I have to take all of those images and dump them into an AI machine to clean them all up and upscale them to make them more usable. Then I pull them back into Premiere Pro and then we start placing the images. And we have to try and find places in the script where an image fits. So if I say the Emperor, a picture of the Emperor should show up. And if I say Horus, a picture of Horus should show up. And if I say Jane Czar, she should appear, right? So you have to place the images. Once you've then placed all your images, you go back into each image and you have to edit them so they move across the screen nicely. We haven't got black bars across the top or bottom. So they're nice and they're full screen and they're HD and they're moving and they're not moving too fast because that looks awful. It just zooms across the screen and they're zooming in on something and you're making sure that you're zooming in on the subject's face, for example. Or if you're talking about a sword like Draknayan, you're zooming in on the sword and you're not just happen to be zooming in on a sister of battle tit because no one wants to see that on a short. It's irrelevant. It's not worth doing. Once you've done that, you then have to start making your subtitles because shorts they just do better if you use subtitles. So you get Adobe Premiere Pro to create captions to transcribe your script. And once it's done that, inevitably, because you're doing 40k and you're using 40k words, it's got it all wrong, right? All wrong. And some of the things it's thrown up at me, if I put them on YouTube, we'd get banned, okay? So you have to then go into the script and you have to edit all the 40k words, capitalize properly, put your commas in the right place, put your quotation marks in the right place, and then you bring them into graphics. And then once you've done that, you then have to go and find some fucking background music that you know full well 60% of the audience don't even know's there. And Luce will tell you, I sit here clicking through song after song after song until I go, I think that one fits. And then you have to download it, download the license to it, bring it into Premiere Pro, clip it, line it up, listen, and sometimes you're lucky and it works. And sometimes you go, nope, back to finding another one. And you go and find another one, and then eventually you're done and you export.
Then you can live your life for the next, what?
I've seen in chat already, some people say ChatGPT for scripts, Midjourney for images. I use both of those tools as well. But if you, I promise you now, if you just use ChatGPT for your scripts, you'll get bad scripts. If you just use Midjourney for your images and you don't spend a lot of time dialing in, you get shit images. They're both great tools. Chapter Master Tiberius says Midjourney, great tool. I can't remember who said ChatGPT. Honestly. And the thing is, like Lou says, I am a little bit of a perfectionist, so I need it to be just right. That's how much effort goes in to £4.73's worth of content. Mm-hmm. Dan says, oh, this is why it brings in the big money. The thing is as well, right, all joking aside, we talk about that for a short, right? And then you think about things like 15 to 20 minute codex reviews. Like you just take that process and scale it up and make it bigger. So when I first started doing some work with Titans, I wanted to learn how to do their Titans Tactics videos. So when I started doing Titans Tactics videos, I was like, I want to do this kind of style perhaps on the channel. Okay, so I went to them and said, look, can I learn? Can you show me? Blah 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 blah. And they were like, hey, how about you make a couple of videos for us and we can give you some tips and hints and stuff. And I did a couple. If you look, I did a couple of those videos. And afterwards, I was like, fuck that effort. That's a lot of effort. Because you have to make all your slideshows and presentations. So then I was like, how about shorts? Let's try shorts. And I made a couple for them that did okay. And so I've just continued to make shorts for Titans because it's working. It's fun, right? I started Midjourney last night and I got lost for hours. Oh, it's a rabbit hole. Chapter Master, 100% it's a rabbit hole. Okay. So that's why we're doing that. But the thing is, I make 2 for them a day mostly. I think I did 1 on Monday, 1 on Friday because it's not, I don't have to necessarily. And they're fun, but it is a lot of work. And instead what I can do is I can live stream to you beautiful people, which is work in itself. I have to test the stream and I have to prep and I do a bit of research and I typically read every article before I read it. I mean, there's a caveat there. Obviously, Liam and Joe show, we didn't read Votan before it went live because we didn't get it before you guys saw it. We had to react to that one live. And there is a skill in itself to live performing. But, I mean, in all of that, Carl of Hodgie gifted 1, Easton gifted 1, Professor Potato gifted 5, Cass dropped another 2 and said this super chat probably worth more than a short. Well, between those 7 gifted memberships and Cass's 2, I've made more than like 5 or 6 shorts. Right, so this is why we stream, people. I have a separate channel with a video. And I have to say I find editing such a chore. Love creating them, but editing is boring. Editing's hard, right? And especially if you are a bit of a perfectionist. Anyway, thank you so much for all the gifted memberships. You have pushed us over the 800 for this particular stream. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much. But it's also over 11 o'clock.
I'm not done yet.
What do you mean you're not done yet? It's bedtime.
No, I'm not done yet. I'm still doing raffle tickets for Sunday. I'm not done yet. I tell you what, you go up, you go have your shower. I'll keep chat company until I'm done.
No. No, I have to stay here.
How many have I got left to do?
But yeah, there you go, chat. There is, in all seriousness, all joking aside though, right? All joking aside, there is a peek behind the curtain in YouTube, right? The amount of effort. I get up at sort of 7 to 8 o'clock in the morning. At some point in that time, I come downstairs, I get my breakfast, I have a cup of coffee. I then start making shorts, normally no later than about 8 o'clock. And often, if things go well, my shorts are done by 11. 3 hours for 2 60-second shorts. If things go well, right? If things go badly, today, for example, now I did take about 45 minutes out to go to the barbers. So you need to take into, so let's just call it an hour. Let's pull an hour out to go to the barbers. But when things go badly, like this morning, I didn't finish until about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and I only did 1. The script today was a pain in the ass. However, what I will say is that one short already. Let me hang on. I need to click and mute immediately. There we go. We clicked and muted immediately.
Jill, can we have your raffle books, please? That's
Why?
amazing. Jill just commented, are you sending him a spare raffle books? I've got loads here if needed.
I ordered some on Amazon on Tuesday, Jill, on next day delivery, and we still don't have them.
Please, Jill, that would be amazing. Thank you so much.
So, chat, right? This that I'm just pinning in the chat right now, okay, is the short that I put on Titans today, okay? It is... Does it tell me? It is... It doesn't tell me, does it? I think it's about 52 seconds long or something. And I didn't finish that until 1 o'clock this afternoon. And I started at like 8:30 this morning. And I had an hour out for the barbers, right? So 9:30. So 10, 11, 12, 1. So 4 hours for one short. 4 hours for 60 seconds that will probably make them £3.50.
Isn't it the weirdest line of work?
Like when you think about it in that regard, right? When you think about it, like in terms of time taken, if that say that short makes the same amount of money, it makes £4, right?
Yeah.
£4.50, whatever. By the time you're taking tax off, that means that short I would have worked for probably about £1 an hour.
Yeah. It's the weirdest line of work when you break it down like that.
YouTube's so fucking stressful. I love it, but it's so fucking stressful. Tim says, you pay for that haircut. Tim, of all the people, I'm not sure you're one that can comment, sir. I've seen your Barnet.
Barnet.
Escapade says, Luce coming on stream, and she won't do that. Work for those memberships, Liam says, DJ Panda. I like to think we do. Like, we stream prolifically here. So when we went full time, when I started streaming, I think when I started, was I just doing one night a week, Luce? Was that what it was originally?
What, back in the old house?
When I really when I really started streaming here on this channel.
Yeah, it was Wednesday.
It was a Wednesday night, wasn't it? It was one a week.
Yeah.
Was that right?
Because we had our roast kitty, our little jar.
No, that was the game.
Oh, okay.
When I very first started, I think I just started on Talking Heads, and I think I started on, was it Monday nights and Friday nights, maybe?
Oh, blimey, I can't remember that far back.
Maybe it was 2 nights a week, right? We'll be honest, I've stayed for the facts, as John Richardson. Most people are just here for the fact, mate.
Do you guys just want a fact and then you can go? Because I'm not done yet.
Not if people like Neil are going to keep spending money, Luce. So I think it was like 2 nights a week. And then over time, this is the thing, right? As we got more members and more people were signing up to the channel, I was like, I need to do more. Because more people are signing up, I need to do more. And that's why we're now at a point where we do a Tuesday game normally. And we will definitely go back to Tuesday games for members every Tuesday once 10th is here. We do a Wednesday Talking Head, a Thursday Talking Head, a Thursday game, a Friday Talking Head, and then maybe a Sunday Talking Head sometimes as well. By the way, people, there won't be a Sunday show this week because I'm in the Element at the Great Hall Gathering and then I'm driving home. Just be aware.
What does that old lady have between her mammaries that a young lady does not? Her belly button. Seriously, Liam, you, Luce, and this community has been a bright spot in a crap week.
Oh, thanks, Neil.
Thank you.
I'm really sorry you've had a crap week, mate, but thank you. Thank you for saying that. It's lovely. And I like the little silly joke. I love silly jokes. All right, people, come on. Whilst we're waiting for Luce, big colourful postcards, right? Your favourite ever joke. Go. Whilst we're waiting for Luce, how many of these have you got to do?
I've got 44 to do.
Oh, are you serious?
Yeah.
Can those people just not have raffle tickets?
No, it's part of their purchase.
Alex Randall, thank you for the gift.
Absolutely not.
Tim Chaser, thank you for the 10. Love you, man. I just insulted your haircut and you gave me 10 gifted memberships. You're a hero. Thank you so much. 816 and 16 is 2 8s. It's Corn's numbers. There we go. We're good. Oh, what's your best jokes, people? Tell me. You can tell it's getting late on Friday now because people are actually just leaving.
Me and Jim Jam made one.
Made a joke?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
So it goes something like, what do you call a mathematician farmer? A scarecrow. I don't know how. It's such a stupid joke, but both of us were cracking up for no reason.
Pip says, I'm fine without raffle tickets. Are you coming, Pip? You coming to hang out? I missed you at Warhammer Fest. What's the difference between acne and a priest? Acne waits to a 13 to come on your face. He didn't even colourful postcard it, but I spotted that. I was like, that's funny.
Carl, I know you said you don't need any, but you bought a ticket, therefore you shall get the raffle tickets, and if your name gets drawn out, then it got drawn out, didn't it?
Basically,
Stop arguing
Carl,
with
if
me.
your raffle
You're getting
ticket
raffle
draws a
tickets.
prize, someone like Brom will pick it for you, and then we'll send it to your house. Last night I was munching on... I shouldn't read these. I said colourful postcards. Have you read Escapades, Luce? Read that one. He says, last night I was munching on some pussy, and then I tasted horse semen. So that's how my sister died.
What? Is it supposed to be escape from Finding Nemo?
I don't know.
Because Dory, she goes, escape.
I need my raffle tickets. Need to do better than that at the DZ one. Well, I mean, the last GHG, we had loads of raffle prizes, but at this one, they haven't sent me my box from Warhammer Fest, so there's no prizes right now. Chris Curtis says, what's the raffle tickets for? So we got a community day on Sunday, a Great Hall Gathering day on Sunday, and we will be selling tickets and doing the draw on Sunday for a bunch of prizes, and I don't know what they'll be yet. Basically, what I typically do is I get my credit card out in Element and go, right, spend, and we buy loads of stuff.
So, but you can buy raffle tickets on the day. So the more you buy, and then Liam will come up to, well, I won't be there this weekend, but last time, Liam came up to me and he was like, so how much have you got? And I was like, maybe about 300. And he goes, right, off I go then. And then you go shopping for 300 quid's worth in Element.
And I always get carried away and spend more than that.
Yeah. So then and it's quite nice because then people can see the prize table building up as the day goes on.
I think last time we sold like £500 of raffle tickets.
Yeah.
And I think we gave away £700 worth of prizes, roughly.
I think when I did a quick toss up at the till myself, I think it was about 800.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
So we gave away more than we made.
Yeah.
So GHG, I want to stress people, right? I would love if Great Hall Gathering, if we sold every ticket for sale, actually we probably would make a reasonable profit. However, I don't do it for profit. And at the number of people that we have, at Great Hall Gathering, this isn't a sob story. I'm not looking for super chats. I'm not looking for members on this one. I mean, I'm always looking for super chats and members, but this isn't what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying this for, right? This is genuine, right? This weekend will cost the channel money, but the people that go will have a good time, almost guaranteed, right? So we've got the quiz on Saturday, and there'll be prize support for the quiz at the moment. So Joe did most of the quiz questions today, and I tweaked, changed, printed everything, got everything ready, so the quiz is now ready, and I made a couple of adjustments to it. But we're going to call it Joe's quiz, so he can still be involved. And I'm thinking that what I might do is the people that win the quiz will all win a Sad Joe t-shirt, and I'll just get them shipped out to you from our merch page. Possibly, I don't know, or we just do an Element voucher. And then when we go onto Sunday at Great Hall Gathering, your £30 ticket not only gets you 5 raffle tickets, it also gets you your lunch, it also gets you your dinner, it gets you a space at Element to play for the day. And our raffle, like I've already said, is going to be probably quite substantial because we like to chuck a load of stuff at you. And so in the end, we don't really make... In fact, once you then consider food for the weekend, journey, travel up there and fuel, the hotel costs, because we as a channel, Luce and I, have covered Brom and Eddie's hotel because they're basically working for the weekend.
I was going
right?
to say, when you get asked to work and it's outside of your, like...
So I will pick Brom up tomorrow morning at 10. I'll pick Eddie up at about midday. I'll drive to Great Hall Gathering up to Element. They won't pay for fuel because I'm driving, because it's a work weekend for them almost. They won't pay for food and drink all weekend because it's a work weekend for them almost, right? And then we cover their hotel costs. So by the time the intent is that by the time Eddie and Brom get home on Sunday evening, they won't have spent a penny, and it's my way of saying thank you to them as well, because they don't actually get paid, right? The only person who is able to do this for a living with me is Joe, and he's not paid millions, right? And people like Paddy and Brom and Eddie and Chris, I do everything I can to try and basically cover the cost of their hobby as a thank you, because when they're on the channel, they're giving up their free time to come and hang out with you people, or try and entertain you people. So when we have a thing like Great Hall Gathering, I'm like, the least I can do for you people is cover your food, cover your accommodation, cover your travel, so you get to go away for 48 hours or 3 days or whatever and not have to worry about spending any money, and you can just come and have fun and enjoy yourself. So
I
by the time I've paid for their hotels, their food, the fuel, the raffle prizes, this is going to cost the channel a few £100, I reckon. And to be fair, it's not going to break the bank, right? I think it's probably because the hall hire is like 500 quid. It's going to cost us like probably £200, I reckon. What do you think? I think once we bought raffle prizes, we'll be out of pocket like 250 quid-ish, thereabouts.
So we did just make a profit, and then we went, oh, that box from bloody Games Workshop isn't here yet. Well, thanks very much.
Yeah. So I mean, it's like when I say it's going to cost us money, it's not like I'm out of pocket by £5,000. So please don't panic. No. It's going to cost us like 200 quid.
To be honest, let's all be grown-ups here, because I'm the one that runs the numbers on it.
There are 2 muffins in an oven. One of the muffins looks at the other and screams, "Ah, we're burning alive." The second muffin looks at the other and screams, "Ah, a talking muffin."
She's so calm.
Thank you for the 10, and thank you so much for the 5 gifted as well, you absolute hero. Thank you so much.
Yeah, so if we were to just sort of like be grown-ups for a second, if once I run the numbers and I'd given it X amount of time for ticket sales to happen, because usually you can forecast these things, that if people haven't bought X amount of tickets in this time, don't bother, no one's walking away owing nobody, it's going to be hundreds of pounds, I would have just pulled the event. There is no point putting yourself through it for...
I do. There's a little part of me that thinks if like we started planning this before the DZTV bombshell, if the DZTV bombshell had have already happened, I probably wouldn't do it, because I know we make a loss.
Yeah.
I know we make a loss.
And it would just be, so although it's going to cost a pretty penny, don't, like, it's fine, because I would, if the numbers were properly on the bad side, I'd have pulled the event.
Hokum says, not been a member for long, didn't know you were doing an element this weekend. You can turn up on the day if you want. You could buy a ticket tomorrow. That's fine. If you still want to come, if you're local, you still want to come, you can turn up. It's not a problem. We've got space. Okay, we're not this is the reason why we're losing a couple of £100 is because we're not sold out. Which is
it's fine. We don't need to be sold out to turn a profit. So selling out should never be.
More importantly, the whole point in community days where we just get to, because like the Sunday isn't structured. It's not 3 games. It's not a tournament. The whole point in doing this is just a place to hang out, have fun, and a way that we can say thank you to the community and say thank you for all of the support you've given us. So for all the members, all the gifted members, all the super chats, everything that comes through, if what it costs me is a couple of £100 to put on an event, to say thank you to those people that turn up, and I'm aware they're still buying tickets, so I'd love to be in a position where I could just do all this for you people without any cost to you at all, but it's just not feasible.
Maybe one day.
So if it was always going to cost me a couple £100 to say thank you to Eddie, thank you to Brom, and thank you to you guys in person, it's worth it.
What's the difference between a hippo and a zippo? One's really heavy and the other is a little lighter.
I like that one.
So it's a fire with these. So yeah, if that's all it's going to cost me, you know what? I don't care. That's fine, right? I'm not bothered. So it's a small price to pay to try and say thank you to the community for the support you've shown us over the years, and I'm okay with it. So I'm coming up from Guildford. Going to be a good day, says Chris. I'm looking forward to seeing people. I'm looking forward to meeting people who I haven't met before. I'm looking forward to be able to say thank you to people who I haven't said thank you to before. And I'm looking forward to seeing some old sweats as well and saying thank you to those people and hanging out with people like Cass and Dave and what have you. Eddie says, I mainly get paid in compliments from chat and the team. Considering how many compliments you do get from chat and the team, Eddie, that does in fact mean that you're one of the most overpaid people on the team. Big Bad Peter Gaming, how much are raffle tickets? We sell them at about £1 a ticket, £5 a strip. So a strip is 5 tickets, it's £5 for a strip, or it's £1 a ticket, okay? So keep it super simple. All right, everyone take Liam a present. No, don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that.
I get very uncomfortable with presents. I don't like presents. Luce will tell you she come to terms with it maybe 3 years ago and stopped buying me presents altogether. I don't like presents. Not a fan of presents. Smeg for Brain, thank you for the 5. Will be there for the next GHG. Can't make this one as my partner is on her hen party. Joke. Man walks into a bar. Ouch. Classic. She's on a hen party. She's not having a hen party element, would she? That'd be awkward.
That'd be a great hen party.
I don't think it would, Luce. I don't think that would be a great hen party at all.
You'd get left alone by all the perverts because they're in the bars and you're not. You get to do the thing you like to do, which is play games. That'd be a great hen party.
That sounds like an awful hen party.
No, I think that sounds pretty
Even
good.
as a stag do, right? As a bloke who likes Warhammer and loves 40k, if someone organised my stag do and said, we're going to Element Games, I'd be like, cool. If I then turned up, they'd be like, really? Stockport? Really?
I loved my hen do.
Raffle tickets. I want to go to bed.
What Charlotte did.
Stop talking. Start stripping.
Not that kind of stream.
Like raffle tickets stripping. You know what I meant?
Not that kind of stream.
One day I would love to go to the UK and meet everyone, says Zenna. I think there's a few of you people over. Like you should do like a. I reckon you could hire a US party boat and come over from America on a boat.
Party.
Right. Joe can give her a lap dance, says Chris. Resident Rum Drinker says, as a former barman, fuck hen parties. I'm sure you've tried repeatedly, all right? Gone on a cruise? Oh, my God. And make all the poor nerds awkward when women walk in. True story. To be quite honest, Carl, we could put you in a dress and they'd all get awkward. It's the hips, mate. That's what it is. How many have you got to do now?
Hang on.
Did you not think this through earlier? What did I say to you when we were on the stream?
What's that?
I want to be done on time tonight and go to bed. I've got a long drive tomorrow.
Oh, is that what you said? Gosh, I really should have listened.
She never listens, chat. Never listens. Where are we? Unfortunately, work interferes with my weekend. Enjoy, everyone. I'm off to bed. Great stream as per usual. Night all. Thanks, Escape. Thanks for hanging out with us. You're a hero.
Escape.
Is it though?
Well,
Did he confirm that that's what it was?
It.
He hasn't denied it. He didn't say no. Is that what you're saying? He didn't say no, so it's okay. Is that the precedent you're setting?
That's the thing you said.
I didn't say that.
Yes, it is.
No, I didn't.
You're not saying it right. If you watch Finding Nemo, Dory goes, escape.
But I'm not even going to go down that route, right? Bringing the guard on Sunday, all of them says Minkster. I don't know if Paul's coming, but if he's bringing his guard as well, that could be a problem. I once kidnapped a hen party, got them all drunk and stuck them on an open top bus. They didn't realise we'd pulled off and we're going home. He's whiny when he's tired. I am, Laura. I'm a shit tired person.
Laura, I know.
I am a shit tired person.
Babe, why don't you just sign off or say goodnight and I'll meet you upstairs?
How many have you got? Maybe isn't a no, says Carl. Exactly. And maybe isn't a no.
I've got 7.
Zedda says, imagine being the girl walking in and having them all staring at you. It's awkward sometimes. When we were first dating and we were in that beautiful scenic city of Coventry.
Oh, that's lovely.
I had two choices. When Luce went to work on a Saturday and I was off for the weekend, I had two choices. I could go into Coventry and find something to do, or I could spend the day with my now mother-in-law. There was only one real choice,
Good
if that
Lord,
was the choices.
Man, save yourself.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
too late for me.
So I went into Coventry City Centre, and I don't know if it's still in the same place, but I eventually found the Games Workshop, right? Because it wasn't easy to find, actually. It was buried in a shopping centre that wasn't a particularly busy shopping centre. Do you remember?
Yeah.
And I went and found that Games Workshop, and there was a guy who ran the Games Workshop called Sam, who was I think he was ex-infantry in the army. So I was current serving, he was ex. So we instantly had some common grounds to talk about careers in my view. So what I used to do is I used to drive from my barracks in Ipswich across to Coventry to see Luce for the weekend. And on a Saturday when she went to work, I'd have models with me. I'd take my little box of models and paints into Games Workshop Coventry, and Sam taught me how to do some of the painting techniques that to this day I still use, and some of the other techniques like weathering and stuff. Lovely bloke. Anyway, I don't think he works there anymore. I think the last one we went there, mine was years ago, so it's completely irrelevant actually. And on one occasion, I think it was, Luce was like, "Where do you go?" Because I used to meet her outside work when she was finished, and she said, "Where'd you go?" So I'm at Games Workshop. Where's that? So I told her. And so one day she's like, "I'll meet you from work. I'll come from work and I'll come and find you. I need to pop into the shop anyway. I'll come and find you." I was like, "Cool, okay, fine." And I used to sit in a little chair chatting to Sam, and I typically had my back to the front door, in the little chair that I used to sit in to do my painting and stuff in Games Workshop in Coventry. And I knew when you'd walked in because the room with, I don't know, 7 to 8 of the great unclean, sweaty hobbyists, it just went silent. I feel like they even turned the radio off as she walked in. And I think 6 or 7 pairs of beady fucking eyes just looked at Luce. What's that? Because you were like 19 at the time, right?
Yeah.
What's a 19-year-old slim-looking girl doing in here? And Luce took 2 steps in, and I think she was like, "Do I need mace?" Like,
Yeah.
this-
It was more like, Liam, can you come out here? I don't want to go in there.
yeah. I looked round, realised that they were all drooling at this point, and was like, "I'm going to pack my stuff away and leave." Very quickly, pack, go. So yes, although not directly experiencing it, Zena, watching that was absolutely fucking hilarious. Stardy says, if you had to, would you be a bloodthirster, keeper, great unclean one, lord of change? I feel like it would be a bloodthirster or a keeper. I feel like I'd go one of those two. Although they say that all of Nurgle's followers are pretty happy. And I like the idea of just being permanently happy. The Games Workshop in Norwich is opposite a strip club. Very different crowds on each side of the street.
Oh, wow, that's interesting. I would definitely get a model in Games Workshop and just people watch from Games Workshop, the strip club, see who comes out during the walk of shame.
Walking in like that. But I don't know. I mean, I would... He says very different crowds on each side of the street. Surely they're not open at the same time. Like, is a strip club normally open at 2 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon? And is a Games Workshop open at 3 o'clock in the morning? Because over those things, I feel that's the wrong choices, right? My missus still won't go into a Games Workshop store, says Minkster. I'm not surprised. Carl says, truest story ever. It's true, though. That is why I never go out with my fiance. If anything, I can hide behind him. Chapter Master Tiberius says, it's so lovely, your relationship. I love how you two vibe. Give my right arm to have what you guys have. You're lovely. Oh, thanks, man. You're a hero.
Aww.
Eddie says, funny, relevant story. Is it when you start with a funny, relevant story, Eddie, I feel like it's shit. The first present my wife ever bought me was a box of Centurions. When she walked into the Games Workshop on her own to buy them, the chap walked over and said, sorry, are you lost?
Aww.
Keep her a secret, spicy, said John. Absolutely. Imagine the afternoon crew in a Norwich strip club. I know. That's the C team, Jill, right? That's the C team.
I love going into Southampton GW though. Sam's brilliant.
Sam is incredible.
He's so...
All the guys,
just,
right.
Yeah.
All the guys in Southampton GW are amazing, amazing guys.
When I popped in there the other day, we were chatting about Fest. And then he was just chatting to some teenagers because they were painting.
Yeah.
And it was just really lovely just to... Because there's some parents in there. And I kind of get the impression that the parents who are with the teenagers who are painting are kind of like, I don't know what this is, but he's happy, he's calm. I'll happily sit here all day long while he's painting. And Sam just creates the bridge between mum and child.
Yeah.
And he's the glue that holds that conversation together. He's brilliant.
Again, all the stuff in GW are amazing in Southampton. Rod has been the manager for as long as I can remember. Like, he's been at that place for fucking years and years.
Rod is so passionate.
Then you've got Sam, Pete and Chris, the staff, and they're all amazing people. Amazing people.
I don't think I've ever met anyone like Rod to work in the same place as long as he has, and he's still that passionate about his job.
Callum Medlock says, our local strip club does a breakfast service so you can go in for a fry-up. Where is that?
Wow, glitter in my scrambled eggs.
Where is that,
Nice.
Callum? And Luce, we're going on holiday soon.
Imagine, you go, James. Here's a lesson on anatomy.
First Games Workshop store I ever went in many years ago. The smell made my eyes water, says Laura.
Yeah.
All the aftershave, right? That's what you're talking about? All the
aftershave.
aftershave. Must be, right? Had that happen with my ex, it was the funniest thing ever. I made her sit in for a bit because I'm evil. Maybe that's why we're not dating anymore.
Maybe.
Resident Rumjigger says, I'm going to take a wild guess, Callum, that you're in the US. Painted Dawn, only been in the Southampton store a few times, not my local to be fair. They're amazing people in there, I love them. 40k Punk, by the way, thank you for becoming a Scald tier member. Look at you people, still coming up with the memberships. That means we're on 67 now. Are you just trying to hold out for 100 members, Luce?
No, I'm trying to give Eddie something to do in the car. He can
Please
fold
don't. Please
all of
don't.
these.
Please don't give him anything to do.
No, will he fuck it up?
He won't do it. He'll get distracted by something shiny. He'll have a bowl full of unfolded raffle tickets in his lap. He'll get distracted by something shiny because he's literally like having a chihuahua.
No,
He'll then want to stick his head out the window. He'll open the window and all the tickets will fly out the window.
It's fine because then when you go to him, right, Eddie, the raffle is in 20 minutes. Have you got the tickets ready? And he looks at you and the beads of sweat start appearing on his forehead and he goes, yeah, they're all done. And then he disappears for 10 minutes to go and fold them all. You have a 10-minute window of Eddie free time. You're welcome.
I've been to Paderborn. Harim's was different. I haven't been to Paderborn, no. I walked into a store to buy makeup for my wife. She sent me with a list. The lady behind the counter told me when I walked in that I needed to go next door to the barber shop. Charming. Charming. Did you say to her, so do you, trim that beard? Warhammer Fest, Nick Baton had deodorant in his back pocket while running test games. It's because he's a hero. Nick Baton is a hero. He's almost a national treasure. Heaven and Hell in Hull is what the place was that does breakfast. We're going on holiday to Hull, Luce. Actually, I've just listened to that sentence back. No, we're not. Jill says Manchester, Stockport and Salisbury Games Workshops are full of lovely people. That's nice to hear. 1989 Games Workshop, Beckingham, Kent used to put lead terminates in my mouth. Don't know why I was 9. It was down in Bromley 20 years ago. Very pungent boy smell, says Laura.
There is a boy smell. It's amazing. There's so much testosterone in the air. It stinks.
Amazing. Right, it is 11:30. I've given Luce another half an hour. It's tough now. We're going to bed. Right. Thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight, people. You're amazing. If you are travelling at some point tomorrow or Sunday up to Element Games in Stockport, please, 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 safe travels. Don't rush. There's nothing you're going to miss necessarily that's exceptionally important. It's just chill out, have fun. Tomorrow night at 8:30 is the quiz. I don't know what time we're going to get there. I'm hoping to get there about sometime 6, 7 o'clock-ish. Have a couple of beers before the quiz so I can slur whilst I read all the questions out to you. And then you can blame me for not understanding what the question was. There is... Hang on, chat. There is, in fact... There is officially 28 questions. 28 questions for you. John, oh, sorry. Right, Luce, I'm sorry. You need to find a fact. John Richardson has literally waited around for a fact and he became a member today.
Don't worry, I'm just putting my paperclip on and then I'll find you a fact.
And he became a member today. He's literally sat here waiting for a fact.
So, John, can you choose a number between 1 and 300?
1 and 300, John, pick a number. Going to work at 6 a.m. tomorrow so I can get away early to drive up. Ed, you're a legend. I didn't even know you were coming, Ed. What a hero. Thank you, man. Thank you for the extra time, says Zena. Have a wonderful weekend. Zena, you're a hero. I mean, you only started turning up in chat like a couple of weeks ago. Now you're in every single stream, committed. More people should be like Zena. And Tim. Tim's always there as well. Not Eddie. I don't want him around. And Laura. Laura's always there. And Jill. Like, you're all always here. What a fucking great community we've got.
They're amazing.
Yeah, they are amazing. They're amazing. Amazing. We'll just sit here and wait. 39, he says.
39?
39.
I'll give you fact number 39. All right, hang on then.
We're hanging. Looking forward to the weekend. Going to be great. Yes, Ed, it is. I get to hang out with you as well. I'm excited now.
Number between 1 and 6, babe.
4.
Okay.
The South Pole has no sun for 182 days each year.
Does anyone live there?
I'm so sorry, chat. That was really pants.
He waited for that random fact.
I'm really sorry.
All right, pick another one on the same page. Anyone you want. Number 2.
In Victorian times, fire engines were pulled by horses. The horses were stabled on the ground floor of the fire stations, which had circular staircases to stop them trotting upstairs.
That's a better fact.
That happened. That must have happened in a fire station.
Well, they say invention is born out of necessity, right? So if they've invented that spiral staircase, it's because one fireman one day was asleep upstairs and got mounted by a fucking horse. I'll show you my hose. That's what the horse said. There you go. There's a fact for you, right?
2.
Love this community, says Barely Rare. Well, come and join us then. Come on, get your name all green and shit. Let's do $5. Let's do $5 if you love it so much. I'm joking. Thank you for hanging out with us. That's incredible, right? Spen, looking forward to the week. I forgot that one. It's top community. Thank you, Jill. We have nothing to do, says Carl. Brilliant. That's the true Southampton accent, says Painted Dawn. Yeah, it is, right? I try and talk all proper, like, but sometimes we go whole forest. Anyway, you're absolutely wonderful to watch and listen to, and you dedicate so much time for us community, so I try and do the same for you guys. Thank you so much, man. You're amazing. Plus, it's the highlight of my days.
Aww.
Who'd have thought this? Like, a face like fire damage Lego is the highlight of someone's day. Good solid fact there, says 40k. Worth it, says John Richardson. Pesky horses, says Jill. Right, brilliant. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you all. Well, I'm hoping I see a lot of you on Sunday. Otherwise, back on Monday on the gaming channel, !gaming, for me and Joe DMZing it. Back on Tuesday at 7:30 for something 40k based. Thank you so much for hanging out with us, and we'll see you in the next one.